Good evening everyone and welcome along to TTML F2. We are here for Season 6, round number 10 of the Championship as we take in the Singapore Grand Prix from the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Yes, I've just realised, by the way, that the title does have round 9 of the Championship. It is round 10. Good evening everyone, of course, I'm James here, going to be taking you through the stream as always on a Thursday night, and joining me in the commentary box, it is Mr. Pepsi Freak. Pepsi, how are you doing?
James, they're going to confuse them now. They're not going to know if this is the final round. They're going to think we have one more left. But we got such a great championship battle, you wouldn't want to confuse them that so much. But regardless, it's going to be a great race here today, and I think we're going to have some quite fun here, and I think it's going to be very interesting to watch, because 3 drivers can win this championship here tonight, which is something you don't see in TTML. Usually it's 1 or 2, but 3, that's a new one.
Yeah, 3, definitely. It is a 3-way battle, of course, for the championship, albeit, to be honest, we'll take the gloss away immediately by saying Ferrens is not going to be racing tonight, so therefore, we've only got basically 2 title contenders, but 3 drivers within a mathematical chance of actually wrapping up the championship tonight. Reminder of what happened in round 9 of the championship in Mexico. For this, of course, this is round 10 coming up. Yona on top, Tionis in second, Volakongan in third last time out in Mexico, and what was actually a really, really good race for Yona. In terms of the standings as well, Ferrens somehow is still leading the championship lead on 176 points, Jorgen second on 173 and Yona in third on 161. Basically, what Yona has to do is win the race and then hope for Jorg to finish 4th or lower. That will be the mathematical difference for Yona to win the championship tonight. If Jorg, of course, wins the race, he will be the champion because he is 12 points ahead of Yona at this stage. So Jorg will be the champion as a result of that. Ferrens though out on top, Jorgen second, Yona in third. And looking at that top 3, Pepsi, this could be, as I've called it before the stream even started, the duel in the city.
Yeah, it is. That was a great call right there. And I do want to say one thing, is that Fanders still does have a chance to win this title if both Jorg and Yona crash out. They wreck out this race, they get no points, and that would give the title to Fanders by default. So if you're a Fanders supporter, he's not going to be here tonight, but you're going to be kind of rooting aside for pure chaos to happen. Maybe some rain, something else. But something else with this duel in the city, as we said, the duel in the city, it is something worth noting. You have 3 different kind of styles here today that kind of brought these drivers to this championship. You got Fairness, who was a dominating driver the first half of the season, but due to kind of life commitments and other things, he had to kind of stop after the second half. Then you got Yona, who was the opposite. He was not here for the first half of the season, and then he showed up the second half of the season at Hungary and just started getting podiums and wins after wins after wins, and he just took this league by storm. And then you got Jorg, a driver who is kind of not the flashy option. He's only got 1 win, if I'm not mistaken, at France. And he's not really been that greatest of options, but he's been consistent. He's been fast. You can see with AlphaTauri winning the Constructors. And he's just been a relatively consistent option. Not a sexy option, but a consistent option. And sometimes consistency wins you titles. Ask Matt Kenz of 2003 for a little cheeky NASCAR reference. But it's going to be very fun to see here today. And I think it's going to be quite enjoyable. And one more thing is, someone in the comments is asking how they can join TTML. This is the last race. I think there's a sign-up procedure, if I'm not mistaken. Jeff,
Yeah.
You could probably fill them in a little bit more right there.
Yeah, Season 7 sign-ups are still open. This is on the PS4, as you can probably tell with the little buttons that we've got on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Yeah, this is Season 7 coming up, of course, next season, and the sign-ups literally close tomorrow. So if you do have the link to Discord, you can have a look, of course, on Discord and sign up via that. Or you can go to @TTML_F1 on Twitter if you have Twitter, and then you can sign up through there as well. Literally find the Discord link, get an invite to it, and you should be absolutely fine. Of course, I'll be looking on Twitter later on as well, in that as well. But here we go. The duel in the city is about to begin. 12 drivers, which is disappointing. Pepsi, of course, you're going to be commentating remotely, I think, for qualifying here, because somebody didn't do the F1 update.
That just kind of caught me off guard there. A bit of a naughty boy. Hey, for the year I've been doing commentary so far, this is the only time this has happened, so I guess bad time for it to happen, but hey, I'll be probably ready to go by race time. But it's still, you're going to at least give me some good camera angles here, I hope, James, and not leave me guessing of what happening's next.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Of course, we are here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Of course, a temporary circuit around the capital of Singapore, which is, of course, Singapore. Yeah, did you know that? I didn't. 5 kilometres and then 3.1 mile, 23 turns awaiting the guys out on track with the 3 DRS zones, one down the start-finish straight, one down in towards turn 7 at Memorial Corner, and one down in towards turn 14 as well at the end of the middle sector. Hopefully, this is going to be a good night, and hopefully Jorg and Jona can put on a show without Ferens here. Jorg and Jona, but best of luck to everyone out on track, but best of luck especially to them, because I know what the pressure is going to be feeling like at this moment in time. As long as we have a clean and fair race out on track and it doesn't go to the race directorship like in real life in 2021, hopefully it will be decided here and tonight.
Yeah, it's hopefully be decided here and tonight as well. No stewards needed. Hopefully this could be decided wrestling tracks. We don't want to have to take the stewards. We want to call a champion here tonight and raise one person's hand, whoever that may be, and give them their moment in the sun. As I think we already see a driver heading out right now, and I think that is going to be a Mercedes. And if I had to take a shot in the dark, I think it's Neymar. It is Neymar, so he'll be the first driver to head out here. And I won't say gristen this new circuit, because it is a new circuit, but gristen this track after 2 years away on the F1 calendar.
Yeah, definitely so. Of course, first Grand Prix held here in 2008. Now, if you've seen the news, of course, in real life, they just extended their contract by another 7 years. I've got to be honest, why put Singapore for another 7 years when he could have been racing around a track like Portimao? Doesn't really make sense to me, but Neymar is the first man out on track. Nathan Clark as well following out on track as well. But looking at some of the Discord comments that are coming through, I've got my eyes trained on the Discord. I think we might have a threat of rain in the race.
Oh, I saw last week in Mexico, which, by the way, to Pariah, shout out to him. He did a great job filling in with me. And there was some rain in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, and in France as well. So rain has struck in the last 2 rounds. And we're here again, where Singapore, we know it's long. It can be very endurance-based. And there's now possibly a hint at rain, which just throws another spanner in the works for these drivers out here today.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Tomo's, with that GIF that he's put in the Discord, he's doing a rain dance, I think. In the McLaren, of course, he is one of our reserve drivers, but Neymar is the first man out on track. Of course, we last raced here on F1 2020, of course. Neymar was in Division 4 back then, now in Division 2, of course, in the line-only tier, and he'll be hoping, of course, to try and get a very good lap in, of course. 2 minutes into the session, nobody has had a lap time yet, and if you're just tuning into the session, of course, Pepsi commentating remotely at the minute because he's got the stream up in the background, but F1 update, of course, causing him a few issues. Think he didn't check. Well, he did check on Monday. There was no update, and he checked tonight, and there was an update, which is strange. Anyways,
it's at 50%, so I'm gonna be there by the end of qualifying.
Neymar coming through the final corner here on the run down in towards Sia's corner at turn number 1, and we'll see what Neymar can do on this lap. Hits the left-hander of turn 1, and then through the kink of 2, and then to the left-hander of turn 3, catching the curb very nicely indeed. You don't want to be thrown as far wide as possible. Of course, 2 Force India's contacted there a few years ago. Of course, Ocon and Perez. Neymar now through turn 4, and then on the run down in towards Memorial Corner at turn number 7. Through the kink of 6 here, and then down in towards Memorial Corner at turn number 7 to 26.5 from Neymar through the first sector, and he's looking very, very on it here on this lap. Now coming through the right-hander of 8, and then in towards turn 9 before the drivers, of course, develop up in towards the Singapore Sling, formerly a chicane until 2012, taken off the track, of course, in 2013, and now it's only the flat left-hander coming through the Singapore Sling. And then on towards the Anderson Bridge section, through 11 and then through 12, and then across the bridge in towards the hairpin of turn number 13. Really attacking the car, Neymar, I've got to say, on this lap. It's looked very crisp and clean so far, and the Mercedes on a very good lap, hoping to try and put it towards the top step of the podium here tonight. 103.3 through the middle sector from Neymar, as he now comes through turn 14, and then into the very technical section of 15 and then 16, and then through 17, of course. Piquet, of course, famously crashed there, just off the left-hand side of the wall in 2008, is known as Renault Gate, of course, has now become through under the bridge of turn 19 and 20, and then in towards turn 20 and 21. I'm just trying to correct myself here. Yeah, through 20 and 21, and then to the double left of 22 and 23. That's a lap of the Marina Bay Street Circuit done, and Neymar across the line, the 135.7 to start off the night. And in terms of the race, by the way, rain in all of the race.
Oh, rain all the race. Ooh, that is not good. I think we also see I believe it's a white car, if I'm not mistaken, a Haas maybe on a run as well. Either Volvicon or Clark. They're about to cross to line. as well. A little bit different to do this remotely, but hey, learn a new style every day. So yep, we're going to have cutting on board with McLaren. He's on the corner of Yona, a current driver that's third in the standings. We'll see what he can do through his third sector as the Haas is about to cross the line. Already crossed the line. And yep, here comes Yona as well. We'll see what he can do just off the line. I'll let you tell me what time that is.
35.3 from Yona, goes 4 tenths quicker than Neymar, and he's already on it in terms of this lap time so far. Honey Badger there going third as well. I think Yona might be on about a 10-second delay, so it's probably best if I try and feed you through a lot of information that is happening in real time. Yona though out on top, Neymar second, Honey Badger in third. Jorg, however, has just started on his first lap. Break FN just off to the right hand side there, coming through turn 5, and then in towards the kink of 6, and then down in towards Memorial Corner at turn number 7. And Jorg is right on it in the first sector. A little bit off it in terms of Jona's first sector, but he's right on it in terms of Neymar's first sector. So this could be important for Jorg. He's got to try and get a very good lap time in. Now coming to the left-hander of 8 and then through turn 9. There is a yellow flag. That was Break FN, I think, letting one of the Alpines through, if I'm not mistaken. And now Jorg on the run down towards the Singapore Sling through turn 11 and then to the right-hander of turn 12 and then across the bridge here. Across the Anton Bridge in towards a hairpin of turn 13. He's really on the limit here, Jorg, I've got to say, on this lap. Has a little bit of snap of oversteer. He's got Yona, his title rival, off to the left-hand side, waving him goodbye, I think, as now Jorg, through the middle sector, is quicker than Neymar by about 2 tenths per second through there, 103.3, once again, through the middle sector, and now coming in towards the 16 and 17, and then, of course, towards the bridge section of turns 18 and 19. Simply Superman has just gone second as well, 135.6 from Simply Superman, so the Irishman well out on top there in terms of Neymar's time, but where is Jorg going to go with this time? He's looked quick and consistent, but I wouldn't say it's a clean lap, as now Jorg comes through the final corner on the run to the line, and that is not a clean lap at all. He has a snap of oversteer coming out the final corner, 135.8, and already he's 5 tenths off his title rival.
Yeah, that last corner is very hard. I've driven it multiple times in multiple F1 games, and it's very easy for the car to understeer right through that section if you don't get the power down. And it's something where you got to sometimes sacrifice, because it's a heavy downforce circuit, but there's enough straights that you have to sacrifice a little bit here. It's not like Monaco where you can run 11-11, and that last corner, especially on old rubber, could easily cost you out. And we may see one driver either go too wide and validate or take the inside wall for a little bit of a trip, and that's front wing off and maybe wheel off if they're not careful. But Frenchie about to set a timer already had, no, he's coming in the pit lane, he invalidated, so time is done for him, and I think most drivers have already done their first go around here, and we'll see if anyone else goes out again and maybe tries a different strategy of choice.
Yeah, Tom, the reserve driver, of course, is coming through the first sector. I think he invalidated on his last lap, and actually he's backed off this one because he went wide coming through turn number 7 at Memorial Corner. But Tomo, of course, they're down in P12, of course, formerly a race winner back in the day in what was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the yellow EML, which we had back in the day. I'm not sure which one it was, but he won at Silverstone back in the day, and Tamo, of course, will be hoping for a very good result once again. Yona right on top, though, Simply Superman second, Neymar on third, nearly 8 minutes gone through qualifying, Jorg there in fourth as well, Honey Badger, Tionas, Volakonga, Nathan Clark. Interesting, though, half of the field have set times, half the field haven't, and I think half the field that haven't, obviously, have picked up invalidations on their lap. Nathan Clark and Tom are the next to come around the lap. I think Neymar was just ahead of them, actually. Neymar there in third, of course, 35.7. In terms of his lap time so far, obviously Pepsi, Simply Superman is a 10.5 ahead of him. What does Neymar need to do to try and improve and break into that 4/10 gap that he's got to Yona?
This is a track where it's obviously something about momentum and rhythm based, so it's something where he's going to have to try to find his pace in a certain section and make it work. He needs to figure out, all right, where is my weakest section and what can I do to find some time in it, because it's only a 10th down, so it is possible, especially with the time goes on, the car gets more rubbered in, lighter fuel loads as well, you can lower it down. So it's something where it's going to help him out as the session goes on, but right now use this second go around here to kind of take it, get adjusted to your line, and then make a good run. So when you have that last dash for cash right within the death of the session, you can really put together what you got. So use this as kind of another banker lap here to figure it out. If ping pong a fall, it's okay, as long as you don't take the wheel off, and use what you learn for that final go lap with about 3 minutes to go.
Well, that's right on board with Neymar coming across the line to start on his lap, on the run down in towards Sia's corner at turn number 1, and he'll take the left-hander once again. Oh, I thought he was going to get an invalidation through there, but now coming through 2 and 3, and then to the little kink of 4, and then in front of the Singapore Eye, yes, that is its name, coming through turn number 5. Don't know where they might have got that one from. Neymar coming through turn number 5, and then on the run down in towards 6 and 7, of course, this little kink of 6, and then down in towards turn number 7, 26.3 from Neymar on on the first sector. He's a 10th.5 up, nearly 2/10 up in fact, through the first sector. So we'll run on board with him as he now comes through turn 8, and then with a beautiful helicopter cam coming to the left-hander of turn number 9, and on the run down the hill in towards the Singapore Sling. Of course, there is a little dip down into the Singapore Sling, and the car has got to really be negotiating that well, and Neymar has negotiated that well indeed. Through turn 11, through turn 12, and then across the Anderson Bridge in towards the hairpin of turn 13. So looking like a very good lap so far from Neymar. I thought his first lap was quite clean and crisp, and now this is looking even better. We'll pick up his middle sector split, and he's actually lost time in the middle sector. I thought he would have gained time there, but he has lost time by around 2/10 of a second, and in fact he's backed off his lap. So Neymar has backed off his lap, 35.7, clearly not happy with that middle sector for some reason, and he's backed off his lap.
I don't think he feels confident. Maybe it's a situation where he figured, all right, I'm down my time. There's about 7 minutes to go, or it's about 1:36 around. So if he goes the second go-around, he's going to end up making a slight mistake. So again, take your time, get re-rubbered, and use this as learning experiences. I think I heard you laugh, so something may have happened as we switch around here. We do got Yona on a lap here. Purple Sector 1 at the very least here. Or, yeah, Purple Sector 1 in the Sector 2 here, so we have to keep an eye on his run here. So we do also have like Sector 3, but I think that's just a slow car getting out of the way, though. But Yona, taking no prisoners here, wants to make sure he cements his pole position here. Because remember, Singapore, it's a bit of a harder track to pass at, so it's not like Monaco where it's trained, but it's a situation where if you got a fast enough car and you know be defensive enough, you'll be able to keep that spot. So qualifying does matter here.
He's 2.5 up through the middle sector as Yon really neat. He runs wide coming through 14. Of course, you can pick him in invalidation there. This is looking like a 1:34. I said Yona's lap time in Mexico was probably one of the best I've seen. This could equal it, if not better it, as now Yona, as Volokongan goes quickest, 35.1. Good lap time there by the Norwegian, but can Yona now put it all on the line, coming through the final couple of corners, in towards turns 22 and 23, with still 6 minutes to go in the session. Yona runs across the line. It's a 34.8, 5/10 improvement. Yona is back, everyone. He was never away from Mexico. Yona on top, Volokongan second, Frankie Fro now in third. Jorg is on his lap coming across the Anderson Bridge, and we'll pick him on board now. We'll run him through in towards the middle sector, but Jorg has got a mountain to climb. A second, the gap between Yona and Jorg. Yona, that pace, if he joined earlier on in the season, this might have been his championship, quite literally. Jorg through the middle sector, though. He's only a 10th down on Yona's lap time through the middle sector, coming out of turn 14, and then in towards turn 15. In terms of the middle sector, certainly he's only a 10th down. I'm not sure, though, because Tom is just ahead of him out on track, and the AlphaTauri really negotiating this track well. As he now comes through in towards the bridge sector of 18, and then through 19, of course, where Schumacher and Kobayashi crashed in 2012, as now we come through 20 and 21, underneath the underpass here, and then towards the final couple of corners here at Singapore. Jorg around the final corner. Can he lay it up to Yona on the run to the line? Third. 35.2 from Jorg. Simply Superman goes 6 thousandths behind him as well. But Yona out on top, 4/10 the gap over Jorg, and Yona is looking comfortable, I think, for pole position here.
It does make you wonder in a situation where it's sometimes drivers sway away from pressure or take pressure by the horns, and I think Jorg took the pressure there and ran with it. Still P3, but like I said, he doesn't have to even finish on the podium because the gap is, I'm not mistaken, I'll quickly reconfirm it, but I think it is 13 points, give or take, maybe 10. So it's a situation... It is 13? All right, I just want to make sure because I was like, I thought it was 13 my math. But yeah, so that's a situation where it is a couple spots because it's 31st, 25, 20, so on and so forth down. So fourth would be enough. So he just has to hang in close and he'll be okay. So doesn't have to do anything too crazy. Just make sure you get relatively up to the front, fight your own race, and let it go because Yona has to do more to win the championship than Jorg does.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jorg is actually on a lap here. I think he's down in the middle sector. Yeah, he is. He's just following Simply Superman in the middle sector. But Yona out on top, Volokongan second, Jorg in third. If the race wasn't to be run and points was just awarded on qualifying alone and the full points was awarded, Yona would not wrap up the championship because the gap is 12 points coming into tonight. Of course, Yona needs 13 points to secure the title. At the minute, there's a 10-point gap between them both in terms of positions. So, Yona will be falling short by 2 points, in fact, if the championship was to stay as it is. Of course, if the race wasn't to go ahead. Of course, the race will go ahead. 4 minutes to go in the session. Yona out on top, Volokongan in second. Volokongan's lap time, though, I think he might just try and feel that he's got the pace. He did it in Mexico. He was right up there in terms of Yona's lap in Mexico, but obviously fell short by around 3 or 4 tenths in the end. Volokongan is another 3 or 4 tenths off here on Yona's lap time. What does Volokongan do do now to try and maximise his run in that Haas on a fresh set of soft compound tyre to try and beat Yona for pole.
He's got about 3 minutes to go here. Track's getting very rubbered in. We see, I think, a few other drivers heading out as well, including, I think, Matamo, if I'm not mistaken, at least from this delay. So back to your question about Volvo-Khan, it's just something where he's going to have to get rubbered in. It's a circuit of momentum. I know I said that before, but it is the case. There's some circuits where corners don't really flow into them, so you can sometimes, if you mess up a corner, it's not the end of the world because there's another couple corners to go. But Singapore is a track of momentums and walls, and if you really make that mistake, you compromise your whole run on your whole lap, and then you have to go around again. So Volvo-Khan's going good P2 right now. He's not fighting for the championship, but pride is a thing, and it would be a lot more of an explanation point going into the offseason being a winner of the last race rather than just being a podium sitter. So I guess to answer your question about Volvo-Khan, it's something where it just got to get rubbered in, feel confident, and maybe take a risk here. You're already second. Why not go aggressive and see how much time you can get? Car be damned.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Volokongan obviously was on the pace in Mexico in terms of his lap time. 35.1 his current best here. He's only got a minute to go until he actually leaves the pit lane. I think actually the Haas is now leaving the pit lane, or is it Nathan Clark? One of the two Haas's is leaving the pit lane anyways. And I'm trying to frantically go on board. Jorg's certainly coming out the pit lane. Volokongan is coming out the pits now, so he will have time to set another lap. He might be one of the last to come across the line, in fact. Yona obviously on a lap as well. Jorg's just ahead of him out on track, which could be quite key, and Yona doesn't want anything to do with that. He wants to stay behind the rest of the field like the Ferrari Break FN, who I think is on a lap actually. He's just started one now, has the brakes on the run down and towards turn 6 and turn 7. Of course, Break FN showed very good pace, and he's actually shown a very good first sector, 26.3 through the first sector from Break FN, and now he comes into the middle sector of turn 8 and then through the left-hander towards turn number 9 with a minute and 40 seconds to go, to go roughly in the session. Yona on top, Volokongan in second, Jorgen third. Break FN though on a lap. He's coming through the Singapore Sling and then in towards the Anderson Bridge section now, through 11, through 12, and then across the Anderson Bridge in towards the hairpin of turn 13. It's look quick from Break FN. Wouldn't say it's quick as Yona of Volokongan though, as he now comes through towards the middle sector split, and we'll see what his time is coming through the middle sector. Yeah, 103.1, so he's probably ahead of Neymar, Frankie Frohl's sort of time at this stage, but now coming through 14 and then in towards 15 and then in towards the chicane of 16 and 17, and Break FN has now really got to put the final sector of his life in to even get a lap time on the borders, but now we've got a minute to go in the session. One's very wide coming through 18 and now through the 19, through the right hander of 19, through turn 20 and then through the left hander of 21. Break FN is on the limit here in terms of his lap time. I think he's going to go maybe ahead of Frankie Frohl here as he comes around the final corner on the run to the line. I always get a prediction right. 35.431. Nice. He's 400ths of a second ahead of Frankie Frohl. Also lap times, I think Neymar was on a lap as well. Tamo was on a lap as well, and he's 103.3 through the middle sector.
Ooh, he is through 103, but that sector right there. I know what you said. But anyway, we'll see what he can do there on that time there. And again, just going to try to find as much time as he can push it here as well and see how much he can gain here. I think a few other drivers are about to start the runs there, including Chonos, as well. I got the delay here, Haas as well. And I think the next driver to cross the line, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be... Oh, yeah, Tom's on the runs. Yeah, first driver is going to be Tomo here, and he's about to cross the line, so I'll let you tell me what time he has put down.
35.8 from Tomo. He hit the wall on the right-hand side, coming out of 21. It was a little bit of a hit, but he goes P8. Let's run on board, though, with Yona, who's purple in the first sector. Jorg is on a lap as well, and Jorg is actually just ahead of Yona out on track. And we'll see what he's setting through the Singapore Sling and then in towards the Anderson Bridge section. So we'll focus on our main two championship contenders from now. Any improvements that we will see, I'll try and filter through on everyone. How's your update looking, by the way, just quickly?
I'm at 90%, so I'll be there for the first couple laps. So I may miss the start, but I will be there for the end of this thing. So
fantastic.
Don't worry.
Fantastic. Jorg's the middle purple up in the middle sector, 102.8. So Jorg is responding. Needs to put a good final sector here. Yona in the middle sector is 2/10 up, and he's 2/10 quicker than Jorg through the middle sector as well. So Jorg is looking like he could try and improve on Yona's lap time, but Yona looks like he's going to go even quicker. Runs wide coming through turn 19, nearly hitting the wall on the left-hand side. Now through 20, and then through 21. Jorg really close to the wall, a little bit squirrel there. Simply Superman goes second. Jorg around the final corner, on the run to the line. And he spins across the line, 35 flat. Yona, though, he's invalid. In the end, he's going to improve. Volokongan is not on a lap. Nathan Clark goes second.
Simply Superman went second, too.
Yeah, Nathan Clark now goes second. 34.875, 400ths of a second off Jona's lap time. Volakongan invalidated on his lap. Frankie Fro, I think, is out there on a lap. Brick FN isn't. Tomo, however, isn't. And Tom is across the line to go 9th, 35.6, I think. If I'm not right in saying, Frankie Fro's not on the lap, Break FN's not on the lap, Tomo's not on the lap, that's the end of qualifying. Yona out on top, Nathan Clark in second, Jorg in third. Or how? Jorg would have loved it to be on the front row of the grid alongside Yona, but it's not the case. Yona out on top, Nathan Clark in second, Jorg in third. We are now set for the duel in the city.
I was kind of shocked Volkan fell so far. Remember, he was second for most of that session, then got bumped by the last by Simply Superman, Clark, and Jorg as well. So just kind of shows that you may be comfortable in the middle of the race, but if you can't put that last lap together, you'll end up falling quite hard. But it'll be someone to watch out for this race. And right now, again, if you're Yona, you're rooting for Simply Superman, you're rooting for Nathan Clark, you're rooting for Volkan as well, Frenchie, anyone in that field to get in front of Jorg and be a little bit of a roadblock, because you need as many drivers ahead between you, Yona, and Jorg as well to win this championship. But I think we're ready for a great duel here, and I think this will be quite fun to watch.
It's going to be very fun to watch. Yona out on top by 400ths of a second from Nathan Clark in second. Jorg in third, Simply Superman in fourth. Volakongan in the end in fifth, but that invalidation probably would have gone into third, I think, with his lap time. Frankie Fro in sixth, Break FN seventh, Honey Badger in eighth, Tom in ninth. That's going to be fun. Two Toms together. Nemo in 10th, Tomo in 11th, and down there at the back of the field, of course, was, and I'm just trying to get it up on the stream, Tionis right down at the bottom of the field. But we are about to get going here. 31 laps, I'm tempted to say, here in Marina Bay.
I think you're correct. I think it's 31, because I remember we did Singapore in CWC. I think it was 31. It had a 1 in it, and I think it had a 3, so I think you're correct, but we'll see. I think you just laughed, so I'm going to take a guess the weather may not be sunshine and rainbows.
It is far from it.
No, it's not.
Full wet conditions to begin the race here in Singapore. Think of it as 2017. Think of it, Raikkonen, Verstappen, Vettel, pretty much like that, maybe down in towards turn 1. Hopefully not. Hopefully everything is going to be clean. I think,
unless
though,
you're a Ferris fan.
Yeah, unless you're a Fevens fan, of course. But I think, in terms of the whole grand scheme of things, this race is more suited to Yona. He excelled in wet conditions, of course, in France. Well, actually, do I say that?
Yeah, remember the strategy choice? I mean, if it stays full wet, I think you got a correct point on that, but we saw a strategy kind of backfired last time in France, which put him in this hole, because if he finished okay in France and didn't go 2 down, he'd probably be a lot closer to Jorg. So he's good in the wet conditions, and we saw how on those softs he was on, he really made him work and was really rubbered in. So he has good car control, but he's got to get the strategies right. So maybe a right of wrong sins, they would say. Maybe a chance to rectify the wrongs, at the very least, as the formation has about starting here.
Yeah, formation lap has begun. We're coming through turn 4 and 5 now with the owner and Nathan Clark. Predict the one-stop strategy. There might not be a one-stop strategy. Lap 15 to 28, lap 10 to 28 on a set of wet compounded tyres, and that is for a two-stop strategy. Don't think drivers will be going two-stop, but I've got to be honest, this is the first full wet race start I have commentated on here in Singapore. The track looks waterlogged. I've got to be honest, the spray is being kicked up completely for the drivers. It's going to be so hard in terms of visibility. Yona, though, will have that clear run, and that's why I'm going to pick him for the race win, because Yona will get the clear run. Nathan Clark will get in the wash in behind, and Yona, I think, with his pace, with his talent, I think he's going to win this just on talent alone. Nathan Clark there has got a very good chance off the start. Of course, he's going to be starting, if the grid order is right, Yona is going to be starting on the right-hand side of the grid, and Nathan Clark on the left-hand side of the grid. So really, any dust that normally picks up there, of course, not even the rain, because there won't be any dust. Yeah. I mean, Nathan Clark should try and get the run in towards someone. It all depends on the grip level off the line. But if you were a betting man, Pepsi, who would you be going for off the start to try and get the run down in towards someone in the lead?
I think Yona's going to play it defensive here, but how defensive does he take? Because he needs to stay ahead, and Jorg doesn't have to play overly aggressive. He just needs to hold his spot. But I feel like someone like Simply Superman or Nathan Clark, they got nothing to lose. They're just going to go for it. So if I'm a bet man, I think Yona holds it 1, but I would not be shocked if Clark or Superman or someone deep try something aggressive, and hopefully they don't take anyone with them in that aggressive move.
How do you think Jorg will approach the start as well? Obviously, he's there in third position on the second row of the grid, dead behind Yona. He's got to try and get out of that spray early on, running down in towards turn 1, so he has a clear visibility for his braking point in towards turn 1. How do you think he'll approach the start of this race?
I think he takes, if I'm him, I'm taking it conservative. Don't bleed points here. It's not worth it. I take it conservative, but that's me. But obviously some drivers don't like taking it conservative because it ends up throwing them a monkey wrench. So conservative would be my approach, but you don't want to lose too many starts off that start as well.
Definitely so. Oh, you're in time for the race start.
Yep.
Perfect. The final cars are rejoining the final, coming around the final couple of corners, and now we are about to get going. I'm nervous, I hope you are too at home. The duel in the city is about to begin here in Singapore. The crowning glory for two of the Dutchmen. Will it be Jona? Will it be Jorg to wrap up the championship? Or will it even be Ferens? We're guaranteed a Dutch winner of the championship. I can guarantee you that. But the 5 red lights here are about to go out in Singapore underneath the bright night lights. The duel in the city is about to begin, and it is... Lights out and away we go, and Jona gets a very good start. Nathan Clark bogs down off the start, and he could be under pressure from Jorgen behind. Volokongen has got a very good start as well, and Nathan Clark leads down in towards turn 1. Clark leads in towards turn 1. Jona now second, Jorgen third. I think everyone has cleaned through turn 1 and 2 safely. Nathan Clark, though, springs a surprise and leads the way. He had a better start, Jona, but off the back, and Tomo and Neymar getting caught in a little bit of contact there further down the field. But Nathan Clark leading the way. Jona is right on the back of him, though, running down in the spray in toward Memorial Corner at turn number 7. It is side by side between Frankie and Break FN, and Tom and Simply Superman are also side by side. Hopefully everyone can see where they're going down in towards turn number 7. Tom goes all the way around the outside of the Irishman. Can he try and get the move done on the inside line now for turn 8? It's so difficult in these conditions. Nathan Clark though leads the way. Jona in second, Jorgen third. We spoke about Jona's start, we spoke about Jorg's start, we didn't speak about Nathan Clark's start, and he's the one that springs his prize into the race lead.
I did say watch out, 'cause some driver may go aggressive as a cat starts to hop my lap, but we'll continue on here. Simply Superman has a big loss there. He was 3rd or 4th from the grid, and now he's down to 9th, so he really got bogged down on that entry lap, along with Neymar as well, fighting his other McLaren teammates. We got a big lock up there.
The two Mercedes were side by side coming across the Anderson Bridge, and Break FN is round. Break FN is round coming out of the hairpin, but both Mercedes were side by side. I do not know how Chonas got through that, and I do not know how Neymar got through that at all. In P9 and 10 still. How on earth they've ended up there, I do not know, side by side across the Anderson Bridge. However, Nathan Clark leading the way. Nathan, though, is just overpowering it slightly. He had a little bit of a slide out coming out of turn 17 there, and now Jona, 7 tenths behind, taking it conservatively. Jorg as well, taking it conservatively as well, and look at the gap they've got in behind, because Volokongen is in 4th. Honey Badger there in 5th, and Honey Badger really the cork in the bottle. He's the one causing a big old DRS train early on.
He's using the Jose Mourinho strategy here of parking the bus, and I think a lot of drivers aren't too thrilled, being Singapore not a good track to pass at, all just kind of queued up behind, probably giving him some fist here as Frenchie is going to try to move up the inside, and can he make it stick? He's going to be a little bit conservative on the brakes here, a little laxational, but he'll get ahead of it because Honey Badger, and it looks like the Red Bull Tom getting a little bit greedy, knows he has to make it now, doesn't want to wait too long, let Frenchie get too far in the distance here. They're still going to be side by side here. Simply Superman maybe going to pick up the pieces if something happens here.
No
Tom
way.
Around the outside in the rain. He gives a little bit of a pinch to Honey Badger, but it's not enough. You'd say it's racing incident, and here comes Simply Superman, gonna try to make it 3 pieces. Honey Badger was in 5th on lap 1, could be down to 8th here, but it looks like Honey Badger will hold on. Well, Simply Superman a little aggressive on the brakes. And oh, here comes Jonas. Honey Badger's got to close the door and fast, or else he's gonna keep losing spots.
Unbelievable. Jonas around the outside now coming through turn 8. Look at Neymar and Tomo in behind as well, going side by side. Jonas does get that move done. He's through and he's into 8th. He asked in the Discord, will somebody turn off the rain? I think he likes the rain. He's through and he's into 8th on Honey Badger. Lovely move that. And Neymar is through as well on Tomo, defending that position into 10th position. Jona, by the way, was all over the back of Nathan Clark, running down into Memorial Corner. He was less than 1/10 of a second away, believe it or not. It's now 6/10 the gap. Honey Badger and Neymar now fighting out in towards the hairpin. And no way has Neymar tried to do it all the way around the outside. Now just off track slightly. Hopefully we're not going to get a sort of EML incident from early on in the season, as Neymar now dives it down the inside line. Can he get the car stopped? Honey Badger nearly forcing the wall. It's so difficult to try and fight, as Honey Badger had a snap of oversteer. Tom are now going around the outside line, and Honey Badger has not lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 6 positions on this lap. He was 5th, and now he's down into 11th position. Honey Badger there, down in P11, might have a slight bit of damage possibly on the car. Yeah, he's got left side end plate damage on the car, so no wonder he is struggling. Yona, though, on the back of Nathan Clark, running across the line to start lap 3. Nathan Clark leading the way, Yona in second, Jorgen third. The front three pulling away, hand over fist over the rest of the field. Volakongan's 3.5 seconds behind nearly, coming in towards turn 1. Tomo was into the pit lane, and Honey Badger also into the pit lane, so I can only assume they probably had a little bit of damage with, of course, this track being an absolute war of attrition. Nathan Clark leading the way, Yona in second. Yona's not close enough this time around, but he is there if Nathan Clark obviously makes a mistake.
Again, something that crossed my mind, I'm going to keep saying it probably throughout the broadcast here, is if you're Jorg right now, you got 3 seconds to Volkan. Right now, you got that championship. How aggressive do you try to lunge on Yona and Clark here? It's a situation where I'm just looking at it in the driver's perspective. There's no reason to get argy-bargy with them, unless you think you're faster, but even then, you may make a mistake, and next thing you know, Volkan's by, Frenchie's by, you have damage. So if you're Jorg, you don't have to be as aggressive as Yona is on that front. And one more thing I do want to say is now kind of watching this and the rain here in-game in comparison to watching it on the stream, it's almost night and day. The stream is like a Switch broadcast, while this is actually the PlayStation, so very different in graphics from night and day.
Yeah, definitely so. Yona, though, on the back of Nathan Clark, a little bit of sparks kicking up there from the hat as he runs a very low downforce setup on the run down and towards turn 14. Yona, though, is up on his lap time, certainly is just following Nathan Clark through at this moment in time. Of course, his engineer will be learning the lessons from France. We spoke about France, of course, last week at the top of the broadcast in Mexico, but how can Yona, of course, he has to have his engineer pretty much 100% tonight. It is a championship winning moment for Yona, possibly. Jorgen behind. If it stays as it is, Jorg is winning the championship because they're both outscoring Ferens, but Jorg, of course, has got more points than Yona, and therefore Jorg will be winning the championship as it stands here in Singapore. Onto lap 4 we go, though. Nathan Clark leading the way. Yona in second, Jorgen third. Jorg now dipping out of the second of ERS as Nathan Clark sets the fastest lap of the race there. Volakonga not lining up early on and behind, but Nathan Clark, did you say he made a mistake there coming through turn 1?
I think I didn't say he made a mistake. I'm just shocked Nathan Clark set such a fast lap, considering he was hound on the back of Yona for most of the run. I'm shocked he actually pulled the fast lap there. I thought Yona would make him. I think Yona made a mistake in that last corner or two there that cost himself some time. But yeah, Clark will fight another day here at the very least. Unless Yona goes very aggressive, he will not, obviously. But yeah, I'm just kind of shocked Clark went that fast. But hey, he is a driver that has got some quick, rapid pace. We saw it in Netherlands and a few other tracks, so something to watch out for at the very least.
Yeah, one lap pace, I think, for Nathan Clark this season, when he has actually attended, and when he's been up there in terms of qualifying, as he hops over the curb and nearly went into the wall coming through turn number 9, got very, very sideways coming out of there, but Nathan Clark still holding the lead. What I was about to say is, his one lap pace has been excellent throughout the season, and obviously he's going to try and translate that into a race win here tonight in Singapore, and why not? Why throw a little bit of the order out in the cherry? But Yona looks on it. He tried to dive it down the inside line there, a little bit of a warning shot, I've got to say, to Nathan Clark. But Yona's just got to be careful, of course. You're going to be saving up more ERS than you are actually going to be using it in the wet conditions. And if the full race is going to be wet as we are imagining it to be, it will mean that the drivers will be running around 100% ERS throughout. And Yona has saved more ERS than this stage and Nathan Clark. But even Nathan is using very limited ERS, and he's not really getting away, to be honest, as he comes through turn 18 onto the bone dry surface now underneath the bridge of turn 19. Yona gets a slight moment coming out of 19, but now through 2021 on board with Yona. Jorg just following through, and well, and Jorg has actually came alive this lap. He's now within a second once again, and he's just trying to keep up with the front two. They're applying the pressure, but Jorg now is going to try and apply the pressure back. That's how we're going to see it, I think, this race unfold in terms of the tactics. Nathan Clark leading the way. He's dragging Yona along with him, but Jorg, coming through the first couple of corners, loses time again.
Yeah, he really struggles. He seems to come to life in that third sector, while Yona seems to lose life in that third sector, while Clark is kind of a consistent average. So Yona's good in the first half, and Jorg's better in the second half, and then Clark's kind of just the average between the two of them. But regardless, all three are faster than Volkan, who's now 6 back of Jorg. So something else that kind of crossed my mind as well, as we saw it in 2016 with Hamilton and Rosberg. If you're Yona, when you pass Clark, do you try to back him down to try to get Jorg into clutching distance of Volkan, or you just run your race? Because honestly, he can't win the title where he's currently sat, so he needs to try something. But how aggressive will Yona go to lock it up? Now, obviously, it's only lap 5. Things can change. There could be a safety car next thing the field gets all bunched up. So definitely too early to think of strategies, but that's going to be in the back of both Yona and Jorg's mind as we run here and see what happens. I think Tom is slowly reeling in Frenchies. He's struggling in the conditions, so Tom could be someone to watch out for and make a pass here relatively soon on Frenchie in the Aston Martin.
And look at the battle for the wooden spoon further down the field. Tomo and Honey Badger are side by side, coming down in towards 6 and 7, and Tomo has outmastered Honey Badger there. Honey Badger was the driver behind. He did get the move done initially, but now coming out in towards turn 8, Tomo nearly slides it, goodness me. And that is just the wet conditions playing absolute havoc, I think, with the McLaren. And now Honey Badger is not going to think about going around the outside of turn 9. Tomo nearly switches it slightly. Not sure if he got caught in the curb. I think Tomo hit a slide himself. Look at how sideways that car is. It's more like a speedboat, I think, at this stage than actually a Formula 1 car. Tomo there in 11th, and he's going to let through Honey Badger. That is perfect, I think, from Tomo. Lets him through. Honey Badger can continue on with that battle. He's into 11th. I wonder if Tomo possibly he's got either suspension damage or floor damage, because that car is very sideways.
Or maybe someone didn't tell him the weather update and he put a dry setup on, didn't think it was going to be this wet or as wet as it was going to be. Maybe that could be a sign of things to come, knowing that maybe drying up, thinking, oh, the rain will only be a couple laps. And we're on 6 and it doesn't look like it's any sign of intermediates anytime soon. But while we were watching that battle, Jorg goes fastest. He has the fast lap, so another point he stole away from Yona, which Yona may want to try to steal back at the very least. But again, just kind of top 3 all breaking away from Volcán here, and nothing really to report up front. Everyone just kind of running their race for the most part, and just kind of, as Singapore usually is, just wait for a mistake or wait for an error, and then capitalize on said mistake to get something done.
2 laps ago, Volokongan was 4 seconds behind Jorg. Tom dives it down the inside line of Frankie in the meantime, down in towards turn 8, shoves him into the wall, and he shouldn't have gone for that move, quite simply. Tom, you know better than that. He's in P5. Frankie now, I think, in the wall as a result of wars there between himself and Tom. Tom just dived it down the inside line. You've got to get aggressive around this track, but coming through turn number 7 and turn 8, not really the place to go aggressive, I think. So Tom there in 5th might just get looked into that instant. Frankie, of course, now struggling as a result of what we imagine is damage on the left side end plate. But he has lost 3 positions as a result as well, which is unfortunate. And he's gone for a spin through the hairpin. And that might be his race run. And luckily for him, he's got to get the car re-going again. And the Australian, I think, best thing to do, come in the pit lane. You're going to be ahead of Honey Badger and Tomo possibly as well. Come into the pit lane, put on a new fresh set of wet compounder tyres, or maybe put on a set of inters and see how you go, as Tomo was really struggling.
Yeah, Frenchie's really just went deep again there. He's struggling as well at the very least. But yeah, to go back to your point though, that Tom move, it's happened tons of times with public lobby, so it's kind of odd to see. Something happened.
Yona's in the pit lane. Yona is coming in the pit lane. What on earth has happened here? Isra from wing change. Tomo was retired out on circuit as well.
We'll see here.
Thingy, and it's a safety car. Oh my goodness me, it's a safety car. It's into for Yona. It's into Yona. This couldn't have come in more of a fortuitous time for the champion possibly to be. Volokongan, Simply Superman and Neymar are all into the pit lane. They're coming on for inters. The rain is easy now to untrack. I was going to pick up on that. But Yona, because of his teammate crashing out on track, it's like 2008 all over again. Tomo was unfortunately crashed through the Singapore sling. But Yona, that couldn't have come at a more fortuitous time. And now, possibly, he could be leading this race.
Well, there may be an investigation after this race. JK on that one. But yeah, perfectly timed. I think Yona because everyone else is coming in, I think it was just a situation where the engineer just said, come on in. Maybe the game one, maybe his own. And they said, ring it, let's go. And we'll see how much time he can gain here on the safety car period, because that was a relatively good call. He's in second. He'll probably definitely come ahead of Nathan Clark. If question mark is, can anyone else like Volcán Superman, I think it's too far for him to even do anything, but maybe with some fresh sense of strategy here, it could give him some new life at the very least. And maybe we'll see Volcán come alive, because he was really struggling in those wet conditions, losing a lot of time to that top 3. So we'll see how it shakes up. I think you're correct in your thought. Yona will most likely get P1, and we have some in the chat are saying lucky with a little bit of a amused face there. So I think they're thinking, but I think Tomo is reserved, if I'm not mistaken. So it should be any collusion there.
Yeah, definitely not. I think we obviously saw Tarmel struggling onto the Singapore Sling. Not sure if he had floor damage, suspension damage. I can only think it was something that went wrong with the car that caused him to crash. It's as simple as that. And obviously, no orchestration like we saw in 2008 between Alonso and Piquet and between Renault, of course. Definitely not like that. It is a similar scenario to that, but I think it's completely different in the circumstances. So let me just clarify on that. Nathan Clark, though...
Where did Tarmel crash?
Singapore Sling to the left-hander of turn 10.
Fair enough. I was going to say maybe similar spots. Maybe they watched the recent documentary on it, but... Yeah, no. As now Clark is in the pits along with Jorg. We'll see where they shake up here. I doubt anyone's staying out here because that would be not a good idea at the bank there. They'll be having a very rough time if they do. Yeah, Tom coming in, Chanos coming in. Now the question mark is, can Yona gain some time here? Clark has already left the pit lane here. Keep an eye on the right of your screen. I think he'll come out ahead. There's the line. So yeah,
Yona might be third here.
Maybe he'll get ahead of Clark though. It's going to be close.
He has to stick to the Delta time, though. Yona has to stick to the Delta. And he's behind Jorg. Wow.
Oh, so that safety car may not help him there, because when he was coming in, he came in third. If that came just a little bit later, a little bit earlier, he could have pulled in and then not lost it. But, yeah, he's going to come out third here behind his main rival, which, again, is something Jorg wants to see. But now he's got basically, Jorg is the tasty steak, and Yona is the fierce tiger right now. And... I don't think Jorg may not want to... It just may be interesting to watch his meters in these next couple laps.
I think Yona, honestly, the engineer and him will be having a discussion at this point, and I think, judging by Jorg's pace in that first stint before the safety car, Yona was on top of him by around a couple of tenths per lap. And if that couple of tenths per lap comes in, Yona is going to be stuck behind Jorg. So ideally, Yona needs to make a move... Ideally underneath the safety car restart to try and have a chance of getting back to Nathan Clark and then putting the hammer down, putting Nathan Clark under pressure and trying to win this race. So I think that's what Yona is going to be planning. Jorg, however, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops off. We're seeing, obviously, in the spray, drivers running behind each other by quite considerable margin. Of course, there's 10 car lengths between one car to another. That's allowed within the Formula 1 rules. Nathan Clark doing a good job out in front, of course. Jorg there in second. Jorg's stall, I think, will be to let Nathan Clark go up the road slightly. Jorg and Yona start to come into blows, and then the rest of the field fall on top of them. And then we get a scenario where Jorg and Yona are going to be struggling towards the end of the race.
Maybe that could be an idea as well here to watch out for. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Of course, safety car is definitely going to be going one more lap around because Honey Badger is way far away, so we'll be going back on lap 9. But with these tricky conditions, it's hard to time a safety car restart at the very least. And the first car, if he goes late, could balk up Jorg. So I kind of think that maybe it's better that Jonas in third because it's a situation at the very least where, from all the TTML safety cars we see in the CWC, it sometimes seems the second car, if he doesn't time it right, gets kind of swarmed up by a third. And it doesn't usually see even the advantage when he gets it timed right with the leader. So let's use Jorg and Clark in this situation. If Clark goes on the line and so does Jorg doesn't really get a chance to make a move. But if Jorg ends up getting bogged down by Clark going a little bit slower and not timing right, he could be under pressure from Yona. So I think Yona's more in the catbird seat here at the very least under the safety car restart than he would have been if he came out second. So I'm not saying it's probably the best call, but he's got, I think, better odds to get second than being in second.
And as well, he has got a lap warmer tyres than Jorg and Nathan Clark ahead as well. Volokong and Simply Superman, exactly the same. Jonas and Tom, obviously, out there on 1 lap old inters. These now are on 2 lap old inters. The ones that are showing as 1 lap, they're actually on 2 lap old inters. So Nathan Clark leading the way. Jorg there in second, Yona in third. I honestly think Jorg might just back up the pack slightly behind Nathan Clark. Let Nathan Clark get around a second clear underneath the safety car restart, and then Jorg's got that little bit of a clear out to try and follow in through, and then try and put him under a little bit of pressure. It's fascinating what is going to happen in this race, I think. 1 lap 9 out of 31. Nathan Clark leading the way. Jorg in second, Yona in third. The duel in the city... not reaching its fever pitch just yet, but the rain has begun to ease out on track is what I can report. Still a lot of standing water, I've got to say, offline, but it's certainly looking like it is more intermediate conditions than there's wet conditions now. And Tomo, by the way, said in the Discord, saying about the possibility of it being dry within 60 minutes. Normally, races go underneath 60 minutes here, and if that's the case, obviously with the wet conditions, we could see possible dry running. I think we could see dry running maybe 4 or 5 laps from the end of the race.
Maybe that is a possibility. I would not doubt against that. And then it comes to the question mark is, who has setups more based on wet? Who has setups more based on dry? Because now it's intermediate conditions. The car, a drier setup could do a little bit better than a wet setup. And it does raise the question. A safety car is in this time by. Now it's going to come down to the setups you put in the car. How many drivers maybe sacrifice that speed knowing the wet's coming and now maybe struggling if it dries up? So it makes you wonder who's betting on wet to the end, who's betting for a dry spell by the end. And only time will tell on that. And maybe, just maybe, that could be the key for someone to win this race.
I think Nathan Clark will be hoping it goes dry towards the end of this race, because based on his pace, Yona looked all over the back of him, but he looked quicker than Yona himself. So I think Nathan will be wanting to get it back to dries as soon as possible. Of course, we started this race full wet, so we haven't been on dry conditions so far. But he is setting the stall like clear, and this is going to be absolutely key. He's going to go probably out of 21 in towards the final two corners and then put the rest of the field under a little bit of pressure. So Nathan Clark now coming through the pinnacle point. Where is he going to go? Is he going to go on the exit of 21? Yo, I thought he was. Now he does go. Coming through in towards turn 22. There's a little bit of a sideways moment there, I think, from Frankie Fro. Honey Badger has also spun coming through turn number 21. But Nathan Clark gets back underway. Jorgen second, Yona in third. Back to green flag racing we go. And the field is spread out as Chonas tries to launch one down the inside of Simply Superman. All clean start. Honey Badger, by the way, is into the pit lane. I think he must have front wing damage on that car. He retires out of the race as well. Hopefully he doesn't lead the session and causes the lobby to glitch slightly. But Nathan Clark leading the way. Jorgen second, Yona in third. Apart from Honey Badger's spin, an uneventful restart, but Break FN looking all over the back of Nemo under the restart.
I've seen that corner claim some people under that safety car restart, though, so it's kind of a shot. I was thinking in the back of my head, hopefully no one spins it, because I've seen people in that last corner lose it, especially in wet conditions. But luckily, some people got a little sideways, but everyone kept it planted at the very least. We do got Yona hammering the back of Jorg right now at the very least. Obviously nowhere to go. There's not a situation to make a pass in a Singapore sling, unless you are just basically doing some sort of drugs. But back to Yona, Chonas, Tom, they're all kind of gapped out here, so it just, safety car was kind of good in that sense. Everyone kind of got some space here. There's a little bit of breathing room, as we did see Yona almost clip that wall. They're trying to find as much time as he can on those intermediate tires.
Jorg nearly ran wide as well there, so Jorg nearly went in the wall. And that is what Yona will want. You want to put him into so much pressure he actually does go into that wall next time around, and then Yona picks up a free spot as a result of damage to Jorg. That is what Yona is probably going to be. He obviously hasn't got the pace compared to Jorg in front, because Jorg is basically holding them up, and that is why Yona hasn't got the pace. If he's released by his championship rival, which they're literally not going to be. These are rivals. They're not going to be working together unless it goes dries, and unless it goes for a second. I mean, the gap already, Jorg, 1.1 seconds. If I was Jorg, I'd be letting through Yona now for the sake of his own race as well as Yona's.
I was going to say, probably because he's got 2 seconds to Volcán. He's got good distance of Volcán as Clark goes fast again, make sure the point doesn't go to Yona. But yeah, if I'm Jorg and Yona's hounding me through every corner, just let him go. I know it's not the smartest choice, and it's like, oh, it goes against driver's etiquette, but you don't want him to keep pressuring you until either A, you make a mistake, or he sends something up your inside and you're in the wall. So it may be just smart at some point. If he's side by side, just let him go. Let him fight your own race, stay behind, because you got a big cushion of Volcán right now.
Yona had a big snap coming out of turn number 5. The QRT man on the back of the TTG man, of course. This would be quite good if this was the EML event. Tom and Chonas, in fact, side by side in towards turn number 7 into Memorial Corner. A little bit forced out wide. It was a Mercedes at least. Tom on the back though of Chonas, and Chonas fights his way through into P6. He goes, holds on to position. Tom was attacking him, but Chonas is through and he's into P number 6 out on track. Tom there in 7th, Neymar in 8th. Other Tom, Honey Badger, of course, out of the race early on. He's already said the game not letting me throttle, and then out of nothing when I turn sharp right, it gives full power. So that is why he's spun into the wall, and that is why he's at the race.
I wonder if it's his game, because remember, I think a couple rounds ago he had brake pedal issues, so it makes me wonder if it's just something with his brake issue on accordance. But we got a little bit of a train for him. I think Chona's going to get a good drive off here. I doubt anyone's going to throw anything for the most part here at the very least. Everyone's going to tuck in line. No heroics into that corner, please and thank you. But yeah, Jorg is now about a second by. He's now braking. I think it's 3 multiple warnings. But yeah, Yona still kind of hounding the back of Jorg, but not really enough that I'd say Jorg is too pressured. It's like a fly. It's annoying, but it's not enough that he feels like he has to burn the house down. So Jorg still about a second behind Clark. no real risk of running into him. And I think Clark is just running because I think, yeah, Jorg went a little bit too wide there and almost got a nice little kiss to Singapore.
Nearly hitting the wall coming out of turn 21, and turn 21 is going to catch people out. There is Jonas' pace, 53.4, and I think he was 3/10 quicker than Nathan Clark on that lap around, despite being stuck behind Jorg. So Jonas has got a lot of pace here compared to Jorg in front, and now, with the rain beginning to really ease out on track here in Singapore, lap 12 out of 31, Nathan Clark leading the way, trying to set a stall out early, and trying to get the win early as well. Jorg at this stage is outscoring Jona, therefore Jorg would be champion at this moment in time. Jona, though, we know what the race is like. Anything can happen in Formula 1, and certainly anything can happen here in the duel in the city. Volokongam, by the way, was a second off at the start of the safety car. 4.5 seconds off. Volokongam really doesn't enjoy these intermediate conditions, albeit rain conditions either. He's there in 4th, and unfortunately for him, he's struggling as we have a slight glitch in terms of the interval timings. Oh, that is why. Thomas left the session.
All good on mine, so I can tell you real fast.
It's
really worth noting. Yeah, it's good back to you as well. But yeah, I was checking the fastest laps as well.
Oh, Jona! Down the inside onto the hairpin! Sorry to cut in, he's down the inside, he has to try and force the move! But that's the first blow. Jona doesn't get the move done. Jorg then second. He had to try something. Jona has to try something on Jorg to try and get past. Otherwise, it's going to be a championship fight worth losing, to be honest, because Jorg there in 3rd. He had to try something into the hairpin. Probably the only overtake he could make, apart from turn 1. And now, Jorg, as a result, is under pressure as Jona picks up a penalty.
Yeah, that's not good for Jona. It's a monkey wrench, a spanner in the works. Now, it makes it even harder at the very least. He is going aggressive. So I was looking at the lap times. Jona did his best laps of 153.419 intermediate tires. Nathan Clark, a 153.450. And Jorg, a 153.458. So they're all within a blanket of each other. And they're all basically in the same pace range. So you're going to have to hope for a mistake or really try to find something here. As we'll see if anyone goes faster. No real improvements there. But yeah, Jona loses time in that 3rd sector quite a bit. And he really ruins it because I think he could make a pass going into corner 1 here or even on that next long straight at the end of sector 1 if he can get close enough. But since he loses so much time to Jorg in that 3rd sector, he just kind of holds himself there that he can't really make it happen. So he may have to try to find another non-alternative spot to make something happen because he just loses so much time going into that 1st sector that it makes it hard to do it.
I personally think if he wants to try and go for a similar move like he did last time, turn 13 is not the option. Turn 14 will be if he's close enough. Turn 14 is a brilliant overtaking position for him to try and get the move, and I think Jona has just got to wait. He's got to be patient, I think, at this stage. He's used up nearly half of his battery early on in this race. Jorg in front of him has got around 25% more battery compared to Jona, and that is key in this race, because Jorg is following Nathan Clark, who in turn has got 6% less, and in fact, Nathan Clark nearly goes into the wall, coming across the Anderson Bridge. Jorg there in 2nd, Jona in 3rd. Jona has literally just got to sit and wait in behind. It is hell for him at this stage. He has a snap of oversteer, and that loses him the time. So turn 14, definitely not going to be close enough. And to be honest, it is looking more favourable for Jorg at this stage because he's the car ahead, he's the one applying pressure to Jona, and Jona is the one, unbelievably, struggling in these conditions.
Yeah, he is struggling. He's got good pace, but I think, like I said, his problem is Jorg and Clark are ahead of him, and it's just, I think if we're at another track where there's a lot more open room, he'd be able to make kind of this work because he's got a little bit faster, but since the wall's so close, he's just stuck behind, and he's kind of his own worst enemy. But again, if it's some butts for candy nuts, every day would be Christmas. But yeah, Jona just stuck behind right now at the very least of Jorg, and even if he does get around, he needs Jorg to finish 4th, and Volkan is really not holding up his end of the bargain as the other Haas that was fast lap of the race. But yeah, Jona needs Volkan, Simple Suit Man, Jonas, Tom, someone to catch up to him, because right now, even if he gets around Jorg, gets around Clark, he still loses championship because that big gap, and it'd be kind of a bit of a heartbreak because that would be 2 points shy of winning that title and a what-if in France.
I wonder if he's going to be close enough down in towards turn 7. He's looked more committed this lap around. Normally, in the DRS strain, he would get this move done. He's having to use a lot of deployment, but he's not going to get the move done here. He thinks about it, sending it down the inside and towards Memorial Corner at turn 7. Doesn't get the job done there. Nathan Clark leading the way. Jorg in 2nd, Jona in 3rd. I'm really impressed, by the way, by Nathan Clark's pace. He's really through the all in the ointment, basically, and he's taking the fight to Jorg and Jona and saying, you know what, if you two are still in F2 next season, I'm going to be a damn well championship contender alongside you. And Nathan Clark has shown as I said earlier on, really good one-lap pace. This is the first time I think we've seen all season where his race pace has been equally as good, and he's outperforming both championship rivals as Yona nearly goes into the back of Jorg.
Yep. I think he was thinking about it, and I think he took a chance, and he's like, we'll see what happens. And nope, I think he more locked up. I don't think he was going for it. I think it was just a lock-up situation. That's going to cost him well over 3/10. So, yeah, again, struggling, but again, all pulling away from Volvacant at the very least. The only thing I'm shocked about as well is that Simply Superman, Jonas, Tom, none of them are getting antsy around Volvacant. You think someone would have tried something on Volvacant, because it feels like he's kind of the, what Tom was on lap 1, Honey Badger on lap 1 was, being kind of a bit of a bus around these street circuits. No offense to Tom.
Yeah, definitely. So I think obviously it's so tight in terms of the curbs. Yo, nearly caught one there coming through 21. Yona on the back of him. They're losing time. Nathan Clark is flying out on track. He pulls another 2 or 3 tenths away compared to Nathan Clark. Look at the straight line speed though. Yona's got a better straight line speed than Jorg. Down the straight, down in towards turn 1. And Yona hasn't really got a response. It's almost like he's got a straight line speed set up on rather than a downfall set up on, which I think is the wrong way to go. But now he's got to try and line this move up in towards turn number 7. York catches the curb there, has a little bit of contact with the rear wheel on the left-hand side of the wall, and now Yona is going to try and capitalise on that, but again, he's not close enough, 3 tenths away. If that was DRS, as I say, he'd probably be launching the move down in towards turn number 7. But look at the train that has formed in behind. Volakongan leading the choo-choo train in behind. He's there in 4th. Simply Superman in 5th. Jonas in 6th. Tom in 7th. Neymar in 8th. Break FN in 9th. And Frankie Fro in 10th position. We're not running the ball with that. Tom, however, dives it down the inside line of Jonas again, trying to go for a move that he needs to try and get something out of, but he doesn't get the move done there. Jonas stays in P6, Tom in P7, Yona across the Anderson Bridge, again, not close enough to the back of Jorg. At this moment in time, halfway through, dead on halfway through here in Singapore. Nathan Clark leading the way, Jorg in 2nd, Yona in 3rd. Of course, if you're enjoying the stream, like, comment, subscribe, take that notification bell, of course, if you are brand new to the stream. Yona, though, on the back foot, I would say, in Singapore.
He is on the back foot. Again, it's a case of what ifs, but still, long ways to go. Next thing you know, a safety car gets bunched up. You get another life here.
Neymar!
So don't write. Oh, Neymar. Something happened with Neymar. He's getting past there.
Yeah, try to go around the outside of turn 14. Couldn't manage it there. Tom stays in 7th. You can continue on.
I was just going to say, I think I lost my train of thought here, so I'll go back to my first thought here, is Volvacon's giving kind of a nice experience to Simply Superman and the rest behind him. It's something a lot of fans would pay for. Nice little trip around Singapore on the streets. Get a look as young Yona gets another 3 to add to his name. He's now up to 6. So even if he gets around Jorg, and now Jorg goes fast lap, it just adds a little bit of salt in the wounds there. Yona's going very aggressive to try to get around him, and it's costing him all this time, and Yona is just kind of just doing his thing. And Jorg is just kind of rolling around. So, yeah, Jorg got fast lap of the race. That's an extra point. So, I think that would give him an extra cushion if he goes on the... I think it's still 4th. But, yeah, Jorg, fast lap of the race. Yona not close enough to make a thing happen this time by.
I'm going to be honest, Pepsi. I'm looking at the rain and thinking to myself, well, we can't tell, obviously, because it's midnight, and obviously it's absolutely teeming it down in rain. The rain has significantly eased off in the last 2 minutes or so.
It's not as dark.
Is it going to turn dry?
I think that's what Yona's looking for, because if he's got that straight line speed, he should be a lot faster on those straights, per se. And I think, but then he's losing so much time. Look how much time he just lost to Jorg there. He was 3 tenths down. He's going to probably, if there's no DRS, but he's going to fall out of DRS range, and Jorg is slowly reeling back in Clark. So I think Jorg got a late race car here, and it makes me wonder, as it dries up, does Jorg have that car set up right to these kind of interesting conditions? Because it's lighting up, it's letting up, as they would say, and Jorg is coming alive.
Jorg is coming alive. He's obviously not gaining the gap, though, to Nathan Clark. Nathan, I've got to say, he's been in a world of his own this race. It has been dominant from this point onwards. He's led the race from literally lights out, maybe towards flag fall. Drivers might have to think about a second pit stop as well if, of course, it is going to stay intermediate conditions. I think, though, the guys can get towards the end of the race because they're better than the set of hards around here. Nathan Clark, though, this is his best race of the season by far. This is how you make a statement going into next season. So far, so good. Normally, he's either spinning by this point or normally he's further down the field. But Nathan Clark, because of his qualifying, put it on pole, well, put it second, got the run down in towards turn 1, got the lead of the race, and literally set his stall out and thinking, catch me if you can, he cries, and Jorg and Yona cannot live up with the pace.
And again, it sets a motion, because remember, we know Yona and Jorg, I don't think are jumping up to F1 next season. So they're going to be down here in F2 again. Yona going to get a full season under his belt. Well, I guess full and a little bit extra half. And Jorg, if he is defending champion, will be here again. And it kind of sets that Clark, I may have been here kind of part-time, but there's been some rounds I've been strong. And if I do a full calendar, you guys need to watch out, because I will be the threat here, at the very least, to be a name to watch out for.
Yeah, definitely so. Jonas on the back of Simply Superman, running down in towards turn number 7. Doesn't get the move done. He's not even close enough, to be honest, there, but it's something otherwise run on board with the battle for the lead, because I'm going to be ending up getting fired as a TV director. Speaking of TVs, my TV's going to turn off in 60 seconds. There we go. Nathan Clark leading the way. Jorgen second. Jorgen third. That couldn't have been more worstly timed, I think, in terms of commentary. Yona, though, all over the back of Jorg, coming through the hairpin, but again, has a snap of oversteer. And I'm honestly not sure what setup he's been given tonight. It's the wrong setup for him, quite simply. And Yona is the one that is paying the price because of it. Nathan Clark went very wide, by the way, coming out of turn 14 there. Didn't lose time. Jorg there in second, Yona in third. And Jorg now beginning maybe to feel a little bit of pressure from Yona, because mistakes are beginning to get kicked in, albeit small ones. But even a small mistake around a track like Singapore can put you in the wall.
It makes me wonder, because remember, I kind of think with time trial setups where they're usually good one-lap setups, they're good for time trial, but not race pace. It makes me wonder, because we saw such strong qualifying from him, it makes me wonder, is the setup a little bit more time trial based and more one-lapper than consistent, and when the tires start to fall off, the car struggles, at the very least. But again, Yona gets a little bit close. He could, if he can keep close, we'll have a chance. I think if he's within 2/10, he could make a lunge on Jorg at the very least. We'll see what he does his last corner here. But that gap is now 14 seconds from Yona to Volvacon right now, and it's growing, which is just, it's a different postcodes, as they would say. And it looks like Yona, yeah, it could happen here. He's within 2/10. This is all or nothing. This is for the championship. He's got to do it here. Down the bridge, past the bridge. We'll see if Jorg not going to go defensive. Yona going to take the inside here. Going to try to outbrake him. A little bit of lockup. He's not going to have enough. He's going to slide. And Jorg is going to keep the spot. So Yona, all or nothing there. Just maybe went a little bit deeper. Maybe a little bit too respectful. And Jorg going to hold station and get the better traction for now. Jorg still leading the way. But we know Yona made a move a couple laps ago coming up. So we'll have to keep an eye on if that happens.
Jorg now feeling the pressure, I've got to say, from Yona, and Yona now beginning to apply that pressure further down the field, by the way. Break fence going all the way around the outside of Neymar, and Neymar nearly into the back of him, and Yona is right on the back of Jorg into the hairpin, tries to go down the inside line. Jorg makes that AlphaTauri look like the widest AlphaTauri you will probably ever see on a Formula 1 circuit. Still in second, break fen, Neymar and Frankie from nearly go 3 wide down in towards the Singapore Sling in the meantime. Neymar there in 8th has got the move done on break fen. That was brilliant racing between the both, and still brilliant racing as Frankie dives it down the inside line now. Break fen, it's getting a little bit aggressive. Frankie will slide down to the corner, he's not going to get the move done. And Break FN stays in 9th. We can breathe after that one. The field has now been split up. Nathan Clark leading the way. As a result of that Jorg and Yona battle, it's now 2 seconds the gap between Nathan Clark and Jorg. And Yona, that's the first mistake.
Oh yeah, that is the first mistake from Yona. Well, I would say the first mistake, because he's got 6 seconds worth of time penalty, so first mistake on track, as they would say. But yeah, Yona, it looked like that was all or nothing there. It looked like he was so aggressive, and I think he may have, I would say he lost his load there. But I think,
Nathan Clark! Nathan Clark spun out of turn 2, I don't believe it! Nathan Clark has spun from the lead of the race! I jinxed him earlier on by saying he was having a good race, and he has spun coming through turn 2. I really did not know what happened there. I didn't see that, certainly.
He just lost it. I was riding about with Yona there. He just lost it. He was through the last corner, the car knicked, and he went around. So that was just a mistake. No wall, no nothing. Just car snapped on him, and it went the wrong direction. And now he's 2 back on Yona and Jorg. He does have the pace at the very least. If Yona and Jorg start fighting, he can get back in this. But now he's far back. Yellow flag sector 1. I think it's Frenchie. Yeah, wrong way around. That's VSC. He's got no front wing.
Could be full safety car though, because it is online coming through turn number 4. He has spun the car. I think had a little bit of overcorrection possibly through turn 4. Corrected one way. The car went the other way. But a VSC deployed. What happens here though?
I don't know, but
and the rain has stopped.
I was going to say,
no, it is. No, it's still raining.
It is, because it looked like from, I think I see it now, yeah, it's right
very
now.
Light.
So dry that I think we're going to have a dry run by the end of this. I think that's more than possible. And if a safety car were to come out, it's obviously not now, it's only going to be VSC, but if someone retires, it may happen. throws another spanner in the works. Remember, Yona has 6 seconds with the time penalties. He needs a safety car, but doesn't want a safety car. So he's kind of in a catch-22, as they would say. He needs it, but doesn't want it. And you don't know what to do here.
And I can officially say it stopped raining. It has stopped raining now out on track. So if you thought there were more twists and turns to come in this race, you have thought completely and utterly correct, because Jorg and Yona now lead the way, and Jorg is doing enough to not only win the race, but to also win the championship as it stands. Nathan Clark there in third has done a phenomenal job, but they've got to be relying, it's not going to be a call, surely, for dries just yet. The C sends. Nathan Clark, however, I thought he was coming into the pit lane there. Yona, that was right on the back of Jorg, and Yona down on the inside line of Jorg, in towards turn 1. What a restart from Yona. He gets the race lead from Jorg. That's exactly what he wanted. And now Yona is through, and he's into the lead of the race. The duel of the city happens, and Jorg nearly has a slide coming out of turn number 3, and Yona now is 6/10 away, and now he can put the hammer down. Yona has got to get 6 seconds over Jorg to win this race, but as it stands, it's still not going to be enough. Yona now leads, Jorg in second, Nathan Clark in third, Break FN is into the pit lane. I think Frankie Fro will obviously be in as well with his damage, but now Yona, he's in clearer. What can he do now?
Break FN coming for a set of mediums, so keep an eye on Break FN here. We'll see what happens here. I think it's too early for the change period, but they may be the guinea pigs here. But even if Yona's ahead right now, yeah, they both came for mediums.
I thought I've just seen it go DRS enabled. I'm not sure if anybody else saw that. It was literally a flick.
I think it was Frenchie. I'm checking the stream right now. See, because 10 seconds delay. I don't see anything.
That track's looking bone dry.
Oh, it is. We do see French, so keep an eye on Break FN's time. They'll put the leaderboard on here. It's 59 seconds. He went way too deep one, though, so it may look bone dry, but I don't think it is. It's French. I think they're struggling. Yeah, no, they're struggling coming out of pit lane, so still too early at the very least.
There's a lot of spray coming into the final sector now. There's still rain coming down on the camera angle, but it has stopped raining. This track normally dries quite quickly, though. It is a very long lap around here. And there was a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. Break FN, I think, just keeping it at the wall. Yeah, Yona, though, leading the way. He said it's stalled out completely. Now he's in clear air. He's got more pace than Jorg and Nathan Clark combined. Yona now has got to pull out a gap as much as possible before he comes into the pit lane. Do not do it now. It's probably my answer if he's listening to the stream, or if his engineer is certainly listening to us. Do not come into the pit lane. Wait for it to go DRS enabled, I think. That'll be the best thing.
Be conservative. You have to be aggressive, but you can't be too aggressive, because you saw what happened in France. Conservative. Just, it may cost you a little bit of time, but use that time to gain now. But even if Yona pulls away, he needs Jorg to fall like a stone somehow, and I think Clark could get him, but where does that next driver get him from? Volvicon's 16 back, and if a safety car comes out, it's not going to be enough to catch back up, because I think something just happened. I'm trying to see what it was.
Jorg hit the wall. Jorg hit the wall coming out of turn number 5. Left side end plate damage possibly on the car. I think he got away with it, though.
Yeah, I think it's minor if it's anything, so I think he'll be okay, but yeah, struggling in these conditions. Right now, that is what the best of both worlds Yona wants right now, is Jorg nailing that wall and breaking a front wing. That is kind of what he's rooting for at the very least. Oh, he almost hits it again. He's really struggling on exit. He is pushing to the limit to stay close, and I think, maybe again, be conservative, Jorg. Don't risk it. You have points, you have distance, don't end up breaking the car. You need that time, because if you hit that wall once and take a front wing change 8 onto a pit of about 11 seconds, you'll be within 6 seconds of Volvicon, as he is really struggling on those tires, and they're 1 lap fresher than Yona's, so it must be something at the very least.
Wow. Yona's just gone purple in the middle sector, 5/10 up in the middle sector. He's now sending the stall out to absolutely thrash Jorg's fastest lap of the race so far. It's 2.2 seconds coming through turn number 17. Break FN retires into the pit lane. Frankie Fro, I think, has also been in the walls. Clearly not dries just yet, but Yona leading the way. He has now put Jorg completely in the back mirrors. He's just got to focus on the track in front now, and he's got to now put Jorg under so much pressure he cannot come back from a 6-second gap to Jorg in behind. And now Yona sending a stall out, and I mean, look at that fastest lap of the race, a 52.2, and I think he's just gone 8/10 quicker than the previous fastest lap of the race as well. Yona is flying now, and he's now realising he's in a championship fight.
He is, and now Jorg may have the pressure as well, and Yona knows he's got to turn it up to 11. That's all he can do. He has to run and has to push, and he has to go like a bat out of hell in order to win this. So he's going to have to go aggressive to the point where he may be almost putting it in the wall. But the gap is now 2.3, so he's grown it, but it's not grown as much as you think it would for how fast a lap that was.
Middle sector is where he will gain the time. Look at now, the spray difference compared to the last lap is key because the spray looks less than what it was a lap ago. We are literally relying on instinct, I think, for the drivers to come into the pit lane. Jorg, again, very close to the wall, coming out of turn 9, but Yona leading the way. As I say, he's got to focus on the track in front. These inters, because they're now running on a pretty much greasy surface, they're going to become more like a set of hard compound tyre. And it's whoever manages that set of inters now is probably going to win this race. Jorg at the minute, though, in second, is doing more than enough to wrap up the championship. And of course, with Jona's penalties to take into account, as Jona goes purple again in the middle sector, Jorg is still going to wrap up the championship victory as long as he stays out on track and doesn't DNF out of this race.
Yep, it's his championship to lose, as they would say. So, Jorg, just play it conservative. I said it more than once. I think I'll keep saying it for the end here. I hope I don't sound like too much of a broken record. But, yeah, Jorg, be conservative. Yellow flag sector 2, I think that is Frenchie around. Decided to come in on a set of softs.
Yep.
And clearly showing it's still way too early. Came in again. And, yeah, intermediates are still way to go. As we'll see what Yona does here. He's getting through the last corner here. Gets a little snap of understeer. It's not going to be an improvement because of that last mistake, but it's still going to be a gain to second on Jorg. So he's about half distance away from getting 6 clear. He's 4 clear at Clark, 3 clear at Jorg. So needs to get about 3 and 2. Math was failing me there for a second. 3 and 2 respectively to get ahead.
He does indeed, yeah. Yona, though, basically needs to hope that the safety car comes into effect and it's Jorg that causes it. Jorg needs to be the one that causes the safety car now, because Yona, I mean, he's pulled 4 tenths per second ahead in the first sector alone. Again,
Frenchie,
purple middle,
wrong way round.
Purple first sector. Yeah, Frankie Fro, wrong way round, front wing damage as well. It's offline, I think, coming through 19 and 20 and 21. So Frankie Fro, he'll be coming into the pit lane. And do you know what? There might be more drama to come. Aston Martin coming into the pit lane. We'll run on board with him now just to make sure he gets in okay. And in fact, he doesn't get in okay because he hops over the curb. And in fact, he did. He goes in the pit wall. Goodness me, Frankie Fro. And that is just why you shouldn't go on a set of soft compound tyre. He's just at a 3-minute .6 on that set of soft compound tyre. So, if that's an indication, definitely not dries just yet, as Yona pulls out another 4 tenths of a second on Jorg once again, and again, it's a purple middle sector.
Yeah, he'll get clear of both for the end of this race. I feel confident in that. He just, yeah, his engineer right now has to have that voodoo doll. He needs to be poking it. He needs to be prodding it. And he needs something to happen to Jorg. Or something happen to Volbekan that he gets one of those bullet bills in Mario Kart to get caught up here, because he needs something at the very least, as, yeah, it will be 4 when he crosses the line, and I think Clark will be at 5. So it may be a consolation if he wins this race, but not a lot of a consolation, because that championship so close, yet so far.
Yeah, championship so close yet so far, but remember, Yona joined 4th round of the championship. Jorg was here since round 1, and we've come to a scenario where the championship is going to be decided by 8 points as Nathan Clark is into the pit lane. It is beginning to dry in the pit lane. That might be an indication of what's to come in this race, and in fact, dry patches as you go along the pit lane are getting more and more prone. Nathan Clark, though, into the pit lane. It is for a set of soft compound tyre. I think it might be a lap or two too early still from Nathan Clark's perspective, but he's into the pit lane. Look at how much free air he's going to be coming out in. Is DRS going to be enabled this lap? I really hope it is, because the duel in the city is really going to be now decided out on track as Nathan Clark runs over the white line slightly. But, I mean, the indication coming out the pit lane, he's struggling. It is not dries yet.
Yeah, and that may have been, he had to do something. He figured he had to try something, maybe a bit too early. We'll keep an eye on the leader splits anyway, but it's currently 35. We came out 34 and a half. It's now 35. It's now 36. He's already lost 2 seconds. So we'll see if maybe it was just the pit lane that was a little bit greasy. But, oh, he's struggling. Yeah, no, it's too early. Yeah, he just caught a tank slapper there. Yellow flag, sector 1, sector 2. I think that is for Clark being a bit slow. So that may have been... That is not what you want to see if you're Yona right now, because Clark was the main threat to get him down to 3rd. And he timed that too early, and that's going to give Jorg even less pressure now from behind, because the next driver behind him, 20 seconds down the road. So Jorg can really just play it conservative. let Yona run away. Let Yona do what he wants. You got that championship as long as you finish seconds. So, York does not have to do anything silly at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Yona has, honestly, since he got in that clear air, he is absolutely excelling now out on track. He's beating York to, well, I wouldn't say to an absolute pulp because obviously it's not a fight out on track. But in terms of the pace, Yona has upped the pace. York, though, this lap around was actually slightly quicker than Yona's. So maybe the rubber of the green just beginning to wear off slightly. But look at now how the dry that track is going to be. In 2 laps' time, it's probably going to be dries. And you know what? You may as well call me Mystic James, because I predicted that at the start of the race, or just in the start of the opening laps of the race, I said we would get around 5 laps worth of soft running. I think we're going to get around 5 laps worth of soft running, and I'm going to be bang on in terms of the prediction.
I think you are correct. So obviously, you know your way around the prediction board here at the very least. Maybe just years of commentating or just years doing leagues. You just pick up on these instincts. So maybe we have to hope next year Codemasters throws another monkey wrench in, as I think Clark is coming back in, overshoots pit lane, and he'll get back in, and he then gets 3, just kind of a kick in the teeth moment there. I don't know what he will come in on at the very least, because he's pitting on a set of softs. He obviously won't go on a set of intermediate tires, so maybe something harder. So we'll have to wait and see what Clark does here in his Haas, but such a shame. He was leading, and now not going to finish that well. He's putting on a set of intermediate tires, so odd choice. Maybe I think he should just try to tough it out, because he's not going to have to come in again, and he's going to lose even more time. So very odd indeed choice from the Haas driver. But anyway, back to the battles we got up front. We got Neymar on the back of Tom here. Something to kind of watch out for at the very least is see if Neymar maybe can try something on Tom. A little bit too big of a gap. Yellow flag in that first and third sector. Frankie Fro lost it on the front straight. Honestly, the intermediate tires pitted back in for it, and no damage, so no real trigger for anything.
Or did he just came in the pit lane, didn't he?
Maybe? I didn't see him coming. Hold on, I'll back up the stream. Hold on. Let me check.
It's either he's spun through the final corner and he's kept it out the wall and he hasn't got any damage, which I think might be the right thing, or he's spun in the pit lane and been reset to track, is what I was thinking.
No, because he was going around that last corner full speed and he passed the line and then ended up backwards. So
okay.
Last corner was what caused him there, because I think he may have reset the track, because he was straight and the car didn't reset, so that was a move off last corner was the mistake, because there was no indication he was coming in. So, but back to the battle we have at hand. Trona on the back of the Superman. Again, something to keep an eye on. And they both have caught Volvacon. They're still behind Volvacon here. Even though Volvacon's been a bit on the slower side, he's held down his position, and now we'll get rewarded with a podium at the very least because of Clark's mistakes. So, if he holds on, obviously, but kind of shows just never to give up, even if you're kind of a train form behind you. Keep going. As now we got Neymar coming in, pitting for a set of softs. We'll see if he's learned from other drivers' mistakes. He's also coming in for a front wing as well, so maybe the front wing was the more pressing issue. As he was behind Tom, so makes me wonder. Sorry to cut you off. Just want to say he was behind Tom. Makes me wonder if maybe something happened between those two.
I think possibly Neymar's been in the wall somewhere out on track, and he's just literally just clipped the wall somewhere out on track. There's a little bit of damage throughout the track. And that is why, obviously, Neymar's into the pit lane. He's on a set of soft compound tyre, and I mean, he nearly spun coming out of the pit lane. But look where he's behind. Look where he's going to be out in front of. Nathan Clark is there, and he's right on the back of him. And do you know what, Neymar, you've made the wrong call, because Nathan has just sauntered past him as if he wasn't even there. And Neymar, on that first set of soft compound tyres, I don't think it's dry as yet. And judging by the spray being kicked off Nathan Clark, running down towards turn number 7, it is not. Actually, as I say that, DRS is now enabled, and Neymar had DRS to come in. Yona, though, look where he's coming in. He's into the pit lane. Yona's also in the pits.
Sorry to cut you off. Clark around there, spun in front of Neymar Gaming there. Just lost the back end, going a little bit too wide on the not dry line. And it's going to allow him to kind of go ahead. But York and Yona are both in the pits here. We'll see. Softs for Yona. York for a set of softs as well. So your prediction was right. We're going to have 5 laps of soft running here. So I got to get you the winning lottery numbers for you later after the stream ends. I want to retire to an island on the Cambrians. But anyway, we got Volvacon and Superman coming in. Tronus as well. All going for presumably a set of softs here. So kind of makes you kick your teeth in for the drivers that came in a bit too early. But yeah, right now as they run, though, it's York's title still. Simply Superman will jump Volvacon in the pit lane. Actually, never mind. It was just pits. Never mind. That was me. Look at the pit stops there. Volvacon's still third. Simply Superman fourth. Tronus fifth as they come out.
Yeah, Yona, though, leading the way, 3.4 seconds. Not at the minute doing enough to win out on track, but these are his favourite conditions. This is now where he can put Jorg completely in the back mirrors, running now through. But I've got to be honest, Jorg is looking a lot quicker on this set of soft compound tyres to what Yona is. Yona has taken it easily out in front. Do not take it easy. Goes for as much risk as possible out on track. If you DNF, you've got nothing to lose, I think, but perhaps a lot to gain. Yona leading the way. Jorg there in second. Neymar, by the way, has come out the pit lane ahead of Tom, which is very crucial for P6. So Neymar through, and he's into P6 on Tom. Tom just getting out the pit lane there as well. Interesting, by the way, Simply Superman set of medium compound tyres, and I actually think they're probably the better tyre to be on towards the end of the race, because obviously they're going to be around 40-50% worn towards the end. The set of softs, set of mediums are only going to be around 20% worn. And look at how bone dry the track now looks coming across the Anderson Bridge. If you're right on board with Simply Superman. Jorg, by the way, was 3 seconds behind. Has he made a slight mistake possibly, or was Yona just completely up the tempo? And I think it's probably the latter, because he's now on the back of Frankie Fro. Obviously not getting enough DRS as Nathan Clark picks up a penalty for crossing the pit lane exit white line. Difficult for me to say. Yona, though, 3.8 seconds clear of Jorg. Yona, if he can gap Jorg, he will win this race, but it won't be enough to win the championship.
Nope, unless divine intervention hits and something happens to Jorg. That is basically that. Yona has caught the back of Frenchie. I think it's just ghosted. Yep, he'll get DRS off him, though, at the very least. So a little bit of a cheeky DRS from Yona there, as he'll be able to pull a little bit farther ahead of Jorg. And I don't know if Yona's got enough pace to get 2 more clear of Jorg. Because it's 4.2 now. We'll see what he is at the end of this lap here, and he'll have 2 laps to keep that pace up. And he was gaining under the wet conditions about when it was kind of pushed. You don't like second 2. There's Nathan Clark, who's retired. I think it's a little too late for anything, though. It's might online, though.
It might not be. Lap 28. We've only got basically 1 more lap worth. Yeah, I don't think it will be. But we have got 1 more lap where the safety car is going to come out. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2 as well, and that is Nathan Clark that has spun. Now he's left the session, it might trigger something. Don't think it will, though. I'm probably hoping more on hope. I think no, definitely not. Yona now leading the way. That is the last hope for Yona in terms of the championship. Gone.
Well, unless Jorg crashes. That's the only thing he's got to hope for. He better hope he's got some wacky racing-like tactics here. Maybe an oil strip, maybe some nails. You need something. Start throwing anything out the back there. Throw your sandwich out there if you want to try to win it. Because there's not much he can really do. Because if he had not those time penalties, maybe try to back him up in the Volbicon and Simply Superman's direction. But with that time penalty, he has to get 6 clear and then hope something happens. So he became his own worst enemy with those time penalties. And to start lap 29, he will get 6 seconds clear Jorg. But Jorg right now, don't do anything stupid, and this is your title, and you'll represent the Dutch as an F2 champion.
Well, it is going to be a Dutch winner regardless. It's not going to be Ferens, because mathematically he's now out of contention. It's between Yona and Jorg. Yona, in the end, has driven a solid race, and he's putting now on the marker why Jorg should not be getting promoted to TTML F1 next season, if, of course, he does move to no assist. If it's not, we're going to have this battle probably for a full season next season, which will be absolutely incredible if we do. Yona, though, leading the way. 5.2 seconds the gap. He's done, for the first half of the race, I'm going to say he's done everything wrong in the first half. He's done everything right in the second half. As soon as it turned dry, he's excelled in these conditions. And now, with 2.5 laps to go, he is going to be a Singapore Grand Prix winner by the looks, because that middle sector, he is absolutely rapid compared to Jorg. He's 5/10 quicker than him through that middle sector alone, and Yona is going to be comfortably towards around 7-8 seconds, I think, towards the end of this race. But Jorg there in second. Do not take the gloss away of why he is ran in second position. He held Yona up at his most weakest point, really. And Jorg has absolutely excelled. He might lose the race victory here tonight, but he is a deserved champion in the end. And as long as he keeps it within the white lines, as long as he doesn't hit it into the wall, Jorg is going to be your TTML F2 champion. With 2 laps to go, Yona will lead the way. Jorg in second. Not so much a duel in the city, but a duel that we could still be proud of.
Yeah, it was a fun race. Now Yona going to get another fast lap here at the very least, add to his treasure chest. Maybe 1 more on the Infinity Gauntlet here, but not going to be enough. But one thing I'm shocked about is Simply Superman and this battle here between Jonas and them fighting here, like they're fighting over the last piece of steak at the dinner table. So something to keep an eye on for. But to kind of finish my point on Yona and Jorg, because I was thinking about this, is consistency matters. And Jorg shown that consistency does matter. You may not be the flashiest name, you may only have one win to his name, but consistently finishing when other drivers had mistakes, or in the case of his two main rivals, sadly missing some time because coming in late or early, it's a situation where it played out, and consistency matters, and you can't take it away from him, even though he ran the full calendar. Not the rest of the field did, but he still was consistently enough to win this championship, so hat tip Jorg if he holds on for his last 2 laps.
Yeah, coming across the Anderson Bridge for the penultimate time on board with Yona leading the way. We have got a battle for third developing though. Simply Superman on the back of Volakongan. Set of mediums looking quicker than the set of softs at this stage. And now can the Irishman try and get Volakongan for P3 and land himself possibly on the podium here tonight. And just to throw into perspective where this championship was won, France feature race. Yona, if he didn't go 2 laps down, Jorg won that race. Neymar finished in second, David Chilhood in third. That is the race that has decided, I think, in the end, the championship. As long as Jorg keeps it on track within one more lap, he is going to be the TTML F1 champion, F2 champion, not the F1 champion, goodness me. Yona ran the final corner to start the final lap of the race. He's making a statement here, but a statement and intention is clear. To try and get the race win, he's now 6.2 seconds clear of Jorg, and as long as he doesn't pick up another 3-second penalty, Yona is going to be a Singapore Grand Prix race winner.
Yep, he'll see if he, again, has a fast lap, not going to lose it, but doesn't want to go too slow because he'll end up losing. He's not like he's 7 clear, so he has to keep pushing and could make a mistake at the very least. But, yeah, battle brewing for third. We also got Tom and Neymar fighting for the, I won't say the wooden spoon because that's currently Frenchie, but they are still fighting for the pride of the teams in respective, even though everything's basically locked up for the most part. So, Frenchie now actually does a fast lap of the race just to steal one away from Yona, so one little less thing in his treasure trove of accomplishments that Frenchie will at least take that from at the very least on those fresher softs. But we'll kind of see if anyone else will have yellow flag sector 1. That's Frenchie taking the fast lap, spins it, and yep, Super Superman not close to nothing, not make anything happen on Volvakan here. So yeah, just kind of riding station for the most part here is now Yona going to enter the third sector here. 1 sector to go. Yona will win this race, and Jorg will win the championship if everything holds.
It's still borderline though. Jorg is keeping up with the pace at the minute. 6.2 seconds. It's not over and done with yet in terms of the race win. Yona has got to pull something out the bag. This is going to be a special final sector for him to pick up the race win. Tom, by the way, makes the move done on Neymar on the other side of the track. He's into P6, but Yona, he's absolutely excelled on the track. It might not be going his way, but it is going to be going Dutch in terms of the championship victory. Yona, around the final corner, he is going to win the Singapore Grand Prix, and he doesn't let up to the line. Jorg, however, around the final corner, here you are witnessing history. Jorg, across the line, he might have not have won the Singapore Grand Prix, but he is your TTML F2 champion, and he absolutely richly deserves it in the end, and drove a phenomenal race to do it here in Singapore. Volakongan, by the way, is absolutely scrapping with Simply Superman coming out of the final corner. This could be a drag race all the way to the line for the final podium spot. It's Volakongan that comes out on top in third. Simply Superman in fourth, race them all the way to the line. Jonas in fifth. We wait on Tom, Neymar, and Frankie Frohl to come across the line. Frankie will be home before Tom and Neymar, and Frankie will finish there in eighth. Tom, I think, is going to finish in sixth and seventh. I'll have a look at the penalties quickly. Yeah, he will finish in sixth. Neymar will finish in seventh, and Frankie Frohl will finish in eighth. Only 8 finishes. My oh my, it was billed as the jewel in the city. We didn't get quite that, but fantastic race nonetheless. Tom across the line to finish in sixth. And nearly crashes before across the line, and Neymar did exactly the same out of the final corner. And I think they both get classified in the results. I hope they do, anyways. But Tom across the line in sixth. Driver today will be in-game fans as Chionis. But Yona wins in Singapore. Championship winner is TTG Jorg.
Yeah, TTG Jorg is your championship winner here today. Hat tip to him. Shows consistency matters, as it's a 2 out of 3 on the Dutch, as I think Volvakan is Dutch, so 2 out of 3 Dutch on the podium here. Yeah, he is Norwegian, so a bit of a different flag there at the very least. But yeah, great race, great season here all around. Hat tip to Jorg for his championship, and Yona definitely going to be a little bit hungry going in the next season. Going to maybe take this as a learning experience and going to try to go for a run next campaign for the title.
Definitely so. It is a Dutch 1-2-3 in terms of the championship as well, because Ferrens has held third somehow. In what was a very changeable race in Singapore, Yona wins, in the end, 0.3 of a second. He was on the back foot, I've got to say, for around 21 laps, and then the dry compound size came, and he absolutely excelled, and that's what won him the race. Jorg there in second, is your TTML F2 champion, Volokongen in the end in third, Simply Superman in fourth, and I'm looking at the championship battle between these two, and Volokongen has fallen short of P4 by 4 points, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because Simply Superman has finished behind him, but he was relying on basically Chonas being up in fourth instead of in fifth. Chonas there in fifth, Tom in sixth, Neymar in seventh, Frankie Frill there in eighth. He picks up the fastest lap of the race as well, and the rest of the field followed through, of course, towards the end of the race. What was a fantastic Singapore Grand Prix. Just running through the rest of the results as well, Frankie Frill finished in eighth. They were the finishers. Nathan Clark, Rick FN, Honey Badger and Tom are all out of the race. And now we can speak to the race winner here in Singapore. Of course it is QRT Yona. And Yona, I've got to be honest, I was saying there just before you joined, you were on the back foot in that race completely. Getting held up by Jorgen every single time, trying to launch moves down the inside of the hairpin. In the end, you've won the race, but it wasn't to be in terms of the championship. Talk us through
it. First of all, I want to congratulate Jorg, of course, on winning the championship. It's unfortunate I didn't attend the first 3 races as I wasn't here. Or, for that matter, imagine if I won France. That would mean I think this would be enough, even. I don't know. I'm just speculating. It was... I mean, I almost forgot to say it. A little bit Ricardo mentioned. I'm sweating. I'm a real athlete right now. I'm a real athlete sweat.
I think that maybe because you have the heat too up, but continue on.
Oh, maybe I do actually. Oh no, okay. No, those laps, what was it? 5-6 laps after the pit stop. Man, those were all quality laps, pushing like crazy. Started the gap with a little over 3 seconds out of the pits. It was suddenly 4.5 ish, and I need to gain 1.5 seconds in the space of 4 laps. I just went mad and I managed to pull it off. About the rain part of the race, yeah, I mean, I felt so unlucky with the pit stop to the Inter. Because imagine if I would have stayed out, just like everyone else, I would have had my pit stop and would be in front of Jorg. So I wouldn't have to had to have too much time spent behind him and be straight away on the back of Nathan, attacking Nathan. Well, and then further in the interstint, he crashed. He lost it. So that gave us the lead. And it was just getting close, keeping close, and at one point I was like, okay, I need to relax for a moment. I'm getting a bit, I'm backing a bit off, and then two laps later I thought, okay, let's go again. Came close again, and then we had the moment with the VSC, and I don't know if you caught it on stream, but whew, I nailed that restart of the VSC. And
you did.
I did. You did see it though. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was man. I was amazed by that restart. It was so good. Took the lead, and I knew I had the pace over the guys in the rain. So I just put in the laps and knew it would go to dry tires. So just worked my way to the dry tires and. Tried to finish first. It's unlucky penalties as well. It's just stupid. I was one running away for 9 seconds. So that's all. Yeah.
Thank goodness you didn't track extend another one again, because you would have picked up 9 seconds and you wouldn't been here, of course, speaking as the race winner of the Singapore Grand Prix. Talk us through, though, of course, that first safety car. You spoke about it there. That set of intermediate compound tyre that you put on. Did you feel that you were going to have the pace on Jorg to try and launch it? Because we saw you, I think, on 2 or 3 occasions try to launch one into the hairpin on Jorg, and obviously you touched wheels and banged a little bit coming out on one occasion.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, you get that at Singapore in the wet. It's no escaping that. And York, the first time I sent it into the hairpin, he gave me the room. He just got the drive on the outside, which I mean, in my eyes, a good driver does. So fair play to him. Also said to my engineer, I mean, it's just fair play. I just couldn't get through. And the second occasion was on the end of the first DRS straight. And I sent it, I think, from 1.5, 2 tenths back, and just the run on the outside. So it was very fair play to him. But about the pit stop, I was thinking, apart from the safety car, it was my lap to pit. I wanted to undercut him because I knew Inters and wets would have the same pace. So I thought, okay, going to the Inters, and then I was in the box, safety car came out. And I thought, okay, this is good, this is perfect, but unfortunately it was not. I think, actually, now that I think of it, if I would have accelerated a bit harder out of the pits, just made a few more meters over there, because at that time I didn't have a delta, and then I passed a safety car after turn 3 or something. And then I got a delta, so I think I was too easy on that first part on the outlap, which cost me the time to drop back behind York.
Yeah, and obviously you did lose the time to York initially, but obviously making those moves stick, and obviously I think the drives were an absolute sense of relief for you because you absolutely blitzed around the track on the final 6-7 laps of the race, which I think was absolutely phenomenal, and he totally deserved this race win, honestly. And obviously, looking back on hindsight in terms of the season, that race in France, you mentioned it in the first question, that race in France, the feature race in France, was probably where you lost the championship.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, yeah. That's just, is that the same expression? It's the hammer on the nail? Nail in the coffin?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah, it was...
Oh, yeah, yeah. The hammer. No, I'm thinking of an old Marty Reed quote. Yeah, no, the nail in the final nail in the coffin. That's what you're looking for.
It's a bit of an American expression, right?
Yeah, you could say that's an American idiom. You would use it as a point of expression.
I remember a meme from years ago. Just some guys go, put him in the coffin. You know that one?
Yeah, it's not related to that analogy at all.
It's just a meme. It's just a meme from a guy jumping on his back on the car and just put him in the coffin. It's fun.
All right, I'll make sure I go get the meme police to arrest you for a dated meme there. But regardless.
One final question from my perspective, obviously, and I think Pepsi was probably going to ask this as well. Season 7. First of all, have you signed up for Season 7?
Yeah, I have.
And,
well, that would have been a shock if he said no.
If he said no there, that would have just ruined where I was going with
it. I definitely have. One of the first to sign up.
Fantastic,
because I didn't. I know, because I didn't have to do the submission.
You didn't?
Oh,
yeah.
F1 and
Tier
F2 1 and Tier 2. Yeah, they don't have to do all the paperwork.
And because I'm not new, so.
Yeah, you're not new, but my question is, with a full with 7 out of the 10 races pretty much under your belt, how do you now focus on a full season? Is that championship your goal to win? Because I honestly think, I'll make a prediction now, I think no matter who's in that field in F2 next season, you're probably going to be our champion next season.
Thank you for the prediction. I'm gonna go with the same prediction. Actually, I'm predicting myself as a champion next season. I really do hope so.
Someone else.
And I'm definitely gonna be in the fight, and I'm just trying my hardest every week to win the race, of course, and not make any mistakes like I did in France again. And then I think it might come.
I don't want to be the negative Nancy here. I don't want to leave on a negative note, but I do want to throw that point out there. Is at the end of last season, when me and Luke doing commentary, we were predicting that we thought the champions were going to be someone like Neymar Gaming and David Shawhood and Scott before he left the league. And as you can see, neither of those drivers came close to winning a championship. Sorry, Neymar and Scott and all the others. But it is worth pointing out that you do look like you got a great pace ahead of you, and I think you'll be a threat, but championship preseason predictions don't always hold water, and maybe another driver that could be signing up as we speak could be the next threat in F2, but you never know. Or maybe a guy from F3 comes up and has a season of charging. So I don't.
You're right.
You'll do good. And I'd throw you as a preseason driver for sure, but I don't want to write off the rest of the field just yet because you never know. Neymar may bring the thunder. Someone else may bring the thunder, and we're talking. George could go back to back if he wants to, if he consider David Clark consistency. So. I just want to say that don't write off the rest of the field just yet. Don't.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. I won't underestimate anybody. I'm just by myself, of course, in the car. So I'm the one driving it, and I'm just the one trying to go as fast as I can and just be in the front and just be the fastest man on track.
Yeah, well, you were in the front tonight, and honestly, you have backed up what I think has been a really good run of fun. I'm just going to leave you on this before you go and enjoy your evening. You have won 6 out of the last 7 races, excluding the feature race in France. How does that stats lie up? Because you joined first round, I think, in Hungary. Was it Hungary you joined?
Yeah.
You did. And you got a podium in Hungary.
No, I got 4th because of I spun on the second stint.
Yeah.
Trying to overtake, I don't know who it was. I think it was maybe it was York actually. But I spun and I had no front wing. But then a safety car came out and I was on the softs and the whole field ahead of me, except from a few other guys, were on hards. So I just cut my way through the field and in the end got 4th. So I got very lucky in Hungary actually.
I swear you got 3rd. I'll quickly. I don't.
No,
you didn't.
No,
Yeah, York got 3rd. Yeah, it was Frenitz, Leroy, and York. My mistake. Sorry. I thought you ended up getting 3rd.
One more lap, and I might have got a podium.
Oh, for sure. I actually do have one question before we let you enjoy your evening, and it's a quick 6-second question. If anyone's watching right now, or if it ever gets clipped for whatever purpose, and you're saying, why should I join TTML? Give me a reason.
Why should I just?
Why should someone,
TTML?
if they're watching right now, why should they join TTML or pick up sim racing or whatever? Interpret the question how you will. Why should they sim race in leagues?
Yeah, okay, so not just.
I mean, if you want to, if you want to use TTML, you can, but any league in general. We'll just leave it as a blanket statement.
It's better to do any league in general, of course, because there are many leagues. TTML is, in my eyes, one of the medium larger leagues. Pretty competitive, especially in Tier 1, where there's no assist, of course. But why you start league racing? I would say the fun of the thrill of getting clean battles with guys who respect each other, of course. Of course, there are gonna be bad apples between them, but you gotta deal with them. And it's just massive fun, man. You're gonna sweat if you really are competitive and you're gonna try your hardest, and you're gonna have tough races. But the joy you get out of it is just so good. It makes me happy, you know. And I just got to note that this is my second game on F1. I started in F1 2020. And in one and a half years, actually I'm league racing for almost a year right now. I build up this pace, so if you're really trying to get better and get faster, get in the front of the field at big leagues, you just gotta send it, man. You just gotta send it and enjoy it. That's the important message from me.
I think that's a good note to end this on. So people at home, take those words to heart and join your local leagues. But thank you for joining us here, Yona, today, and hopefully you have a good season next season as well.
I hope so too, man. Thanks for the commentary. As always, I'm gonna enjoy it again. And maybe even watch it 2 times this time.
2 times? Ooh. Interesting. Well, we built it as the duel in the city. It wasn't quite like that, but I'm sure it's still very enjoyable nonetheless. Go and enjoy your evening though, Yona.
Thanks, mate. You too.
Very welcome indeed.
See you next season, right?
See you next season. Well, will I be here in F2 next season? I will be here in F2 next season.
Nice.
I think Storm will be taking over for me. Yeah, I'll be on reserves though, so you may see me coming once when someone's out here.
Nice. Nice, I'll look out for it, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Have a good one.
See ya. And I've also got a message from York. He cannot join the party tonight, but I will literally read out what he has said to me on Discord. He's put, "Hey James, I can't join the party tonight, mate. First of all, congrats on a great season in TTML. Was a pleasure to have you as a commentator. Thank you so much. I want to no thank you there to Pepsi, by the way. Pepsi, thank you as well.
Where's my... I was going to say, where's my thank you? I was half this duo.
He also wants to congratulate Yona with the win, and both championships are in the pocket, of course, after AlphaTauri, of course, wrapped up the Constructors with 2 rounds to go. So, I'm super happy. Thanks to Noisy for having him as a teammate. See you next season. So, York will be back next season as well. Will we get maybe 2.0 of the Yona-Yorg battle and saga that I think is going to unfold in TTML F2 next season? You just have to wait and find out, of course. As Pepsi's already alluded to, it is not going to be Pepsi in the commentary box alongside me next week. Next week? Not in a couple of weeks' time for TTML F2. It is, of course, going to be Storm. Of course, you might have heard him in F3 and, of course, Driver in F5. He's going to be commentating alongside me next season. But Pepsi, unfortunately for you, you're getting a promotion with me in TTML F1.
I've been falling upwards. Yay, I get to go to F1. I get to continue this partnership with you, James. It's been a fun experience so far. We get to commentate on the best of the best, but no discredit to F2 because some of them run assist and are still pretty fast. So I think Storm will have a good time as well down here and watch these battles, and we'll have some good fun up in F1.
Yeah, definitely. So F3 seemed quite interesting tonight as well. You can catch both live streams back, of course, when we go off the air in just a couple of minutes. But I would like to thank everyone from here in TTML F2 for being so respectful, I think, out on track this season. We've had moments of sheer joy, like we've seen with Yona winning 6 out of the last 7 races. We've had joy, we've had heartbreak, basically, in terms of, obviously, Yona, in terms of France. I'm using Yona a lot here in terms of my references, but it's just how the season went, I think, from a whole perspective. Fantastic racing, fantastic set of guys that we've got in the TTML F2 lineup, and it's absolutely brilliant to see all of you supporting, of course, and I really hope that you continue to support TTML F2 in the future. Of course, myself and Storm will be taking you through on that one, and to give you a date in the calendar for TTML F2, I'm not going to release the full calendar because I'm going to put that probably on Twitter, but I will run you through the calendar quickly. Bahrain between the 17th and the 20th of February. Make a note of that in your phone, your diary, whatever it might be. That's the first round of the championship in Bahrain.
I've got my PDA here.
Yeah, you've got your PDA there. And Bahrain, yeah, first round of the championship. Placements will come around a week before that, so placements will be revealed, of course. Not sure how they're getting revealed. Of course, we did the placement show last time out. We might do that again for all divisions, to be honest. We might get representatives from each division to come in and focus on that, and that'll be a brilliant way, I think, to obviously launch the season as an absolute whole. But big thank you to everyone that has raced tonight, that has raced throughout the whole season, whether or not you've left the league, whether or not you've reserved, whether or not you've been a full-time driver. Every single one of you makes TTML tick over, and every single one of you deserves as much praise as possible. So thank you so much for attending, first and foremost, every single race this season, and we hope to see you back in TTML F2 next season. But the fun doesn't stop there. More action to come tomorrow night. TTML F4 and F5. It is Conti and Funky Chicken, the absolute goats of F4. Not me, sadly, because I'm not going to be there again. But F4, it is going to be, of course,
I think... Is it the first time Chicken and Conti are finally there together at last?
They've been there before. They've been there before, but they've missed the last couple of weeks because of parties and illness, unfortunately, in the case of Funky Chicken, especially illness and COVID there. But F5 as well, Pariah and Buck going to be taking you through that one. Both, of course, 8 PM UK time. Please tune in for that one. I'm going to be hovering around in both streams, so you'll catch me there on the other side of the microphone, albeit in the commentary, in the comment section rather than the commentary box. But more action to come as well over the weekend. I think BNL is still going on a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, as I said last night,
Didn't BNL just finish this last week? Because I thought
BNL, I think, finished. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know CWC finished like BNL's season end as well. So the only thing on Sunday is going to be you and Luke in F1.
Yeah, TTML F1, which would be absolutely fantastic, of course, and it would be brilliant to cover the action. Now, of course, both championships are wrapped up, but we have got a really good battle going on for third in the championship, which can all be decided in, of course, Singapore in 31 laps time. Well, in 3 days' time, in 31 laps, basically, is what I'm trying to say there. And then, of course, more action to come during the week. TTML GT, I think, is on Tuesday. And Wednesday, of course, we all get the week off. And next week, of course, we all get the week off because there's no TTML for a week. And then it's the placement, and then it's Bahrain. So, basically, 3 weeks' time, we'll be back for round 1 of the championship in Bahrain. And I really hope you're going to tune in for that. Of course, if you have liked the stream today, like, comment, subscribe, tick the notification bell, of course, if you're brand new. Myself and Pepsi will see you in TTML F1 next season, but I, of course, will see you once again in TTML F2. So, from that, on that perspective, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.